I swear we're live. We have to be live.
I hope so for your sake.
I really hope it is. Dude, this has been, I mean, if we count yesterday, Dennis, 45 minutes between the two nights trying to get podcasts going, man?
Easy.
All right, look, we have the return of Technoid. We have the return of Dennis, who's been on my show before, I think at least once. I think him and, twice. And Stetson has been on a couple of times. And then the return, like, rising from the ashes like a phoenix. We got Zero Cool, dude.
Good evening.
Mr. Penguin himself is back.
What's up, boys? What's happening?
Not too much. Looking forward to seeing what we're going to talk about. I know. Yesterday behind the scenes, you were talking about possibly talking finance talk again, so I'm a little excited for that. But I'll wait and see what you got in store for us.
I've been all right, just grinding in school, just taking a day at a time, trying to make some good content, and just living a good life.
What about you, Zero Cool? What you been up to, dog?
I want to hear this.
I've been just I'm honestly just work and I've been vacationing a lot.
A permanent vacationing
awesome.
For about a year and a half. I'm pretty sure that vacation extended past its time.
Look, bro, what cities do you visit in Florida, Technoid?
What cities?
I go to Tampa, West Palm Beach,
Yes.
Miami, Orlando, and Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, Technoid on that Florida life.
Hey, listen, I'm back in New York, but I want to get out of here. I'm going to keep this show PG-13, but get me out of New York.
Seriously? New York is like popping. Like,
Come down to Florida. Everybody's down to Florida.
I'll just say this. The only thing I got right now that's keeping me here is UFC 268. I just bought my tickets yesterday, and I got them for a steal. If anybody knows anything about UFC, Dana White upcharges literally every pre-sale. I got mine at $223. They raised the price up to $400 in the Section 200s where I'm sitting.
Yeah, man. I paid about $260 for my Stipe tickets when he defended against Overeem. It was in CLE. Yep.
Hashtag CLE.
Yeah, that's right, buddy. All right. So we got stuff to talk about tonight. We got a good show for you guys, good topics. We have the talking heads. I think Technoid will probably shine on the hardware side as we discuss a little bit about what's left in terms of, like, I don't know. There are a couple of things I want to mention about the iPhone. There were some people saying that there wasn't going to be much of an upgrade this year. It looks like, based on benchmarking, that's actually false. The GPU, the CPU stuff is upgraded. And so we'll kind of touch on that. And then, Dennis, we got to talk about fixed wireless access, bruh. Okay, because I read this article today, and it made me think I need to bring this to Dennis and get his opinion on this. So we got that. We'll talk about fiber to home a little bit. And then Zero Cool, right up your alley, is I want to talk about this Wi-Fi situation. All right? So we have a lot, and we'd be lucky to squeeze it into an hour, so we'll try. All right, the first thing, and this may take a nice little chunk of time, and I'm okay with that because I just did a short for it, and it set the world record for Sneed Shorts. It is my #1 most viewed short, and it did that in 4 hours. All right, so my highest viewed short ever, and it's T-Mobile is no longer the Uncarrier. I just want to say to anybody out there who didn't believe it or thought that it was all just hyperbole, I said over a year ago to this date that T-Mobile's days as the Uncarrier were done when John Legere left. And a lot of people held on and held out and all of that nonsense. Well, if you didn't believe me, now you have to eat crow, because now the telecom media is reporting that and saying that. So, like I said yesterday, Dennis, I'm no frickin' wireless networking prophet. I just know what I see when I see it. And I knew from the first moment when T-Mobile told those employees everybody's got a seat at the table as they began to thousands of jobs. They literally said it in the same room. So it's like they said to the people the right thing. They turned around and they started mumbling, "We got to fire all these people." It's literally felt like a movie. And then here comes telecom media now reporting the Uncarrier's done. They're doing exactly what the other carriers are doing. I've been saying this for over a year. I feel vindicated. I feel like this is confirmation. Unfortunately, I'm right this time. I've been wrong a lot. but this time I'm right. And it's unfortunate because we wish they were still the Uncarrier. They're just not, right? They have done more Uncarrier things in the last year, I think, than the company has ever done in their 30-year existence, going back to voice stream, you know? And unfortunately, I think that's the truth. The only way you're getting the maximum iPhone 13 deal with them is if you upgrade to the Magenta Max plan. The only way you get anything to the maximum is through the Magenta Max plan. That is the Verizon playbook to get everybody upgraded to their premium plans. And then here's AT&T saying, "Oh no, everybody gets the same deal. New or existing, we're giving you $1,000 for the Pro. We're giving you $1,000 for the Pro Max. Right? We'll give you a free Mini. We'll give you a free 13." Their deal is more Uncarrier than any of them. And I've been saying for the last year, AT&T moves a little bit more Uncarrier than T-Mobile does, don't they? Right? I'm just calling a spade a spade. If you don't like it, that's your problem. But if you want to be in denial, well, maybe when some of these guys from Light Shed Reading and Fierce Wireless, maybe when they say it, you'll listen. But I tried to tell people a long time ago, things were just different. When they got the new CEO, they started changing their business approach. I could tell. I could see it. I could smell it. Eugene's pits were stanking. I could tell. I mean, I don't know. What are you watching? What are you seeing from him, Technoid? You've talked about this.
Very, very good thing you started with me, because I'm not sorry for what I'm about to say. You started right, because I don't care who I piss off. But I must just say this. I remember exactly when I said that T-Mobile was not the Uncarrier. As a matter of fact, I actually remember the exact date. It was October 2020. We are almost a year later. It was in an October stream, I remember, with you. We were discussing post-merger. We were discussing, the future. And I said to myself, going forward, T-Mobile is not the underdog anymore. They are now one of the bigger players because they just acquired Sprint. And I told the world, and I said from this day forth, I do not like T-Mobile. And it was because of performance issues and also things that were happening in our lives. That was when we switched over to Verizon. And so far, we've had a great run with them. They're a little pricey, but you pay for what you get, and there's a lot of benefits in there. And, I could go on right now, but everything that I said a year ago kind of still holds up, and I don't really have much to add. All I can really brush up on is what I said a year ago, and I'm going to say it again. That everything that T-Mobile had worked to do, everything that they had done a few years ago, the company that people keep holding on to, it's not the same company. It's not.
The proof is all this happened post-merger. None of T-Mobile would not have busted a U-turn if they didn't consume Sprint. They knew once that it was now 3, and they knew that there was no more growth potential because they swallowed the company that they were taking customers from. They weren't taking AT&T customers. They weren't taking Verizon customers. That churn rate at both of those companies are usually industry-leading. So they were taking Sprint customers. So once they expedited that process and got all the spectrum, they didn't owe anybody anything. They didn't have to play nice with anybody. And does the Uncarrier not play nicely with MVNO? I mean, they're literally trying to disable Dish. Like, let's be honest about this. They are even poaching the Boost Mobile customer. They're moving their own Metro customers away from Metro dealers, taking their and you're fishing for your own customers to move them to postpaid. These Metro dealers are going to end up closing their doors.
Oh, they are. There's no Metro dealer on Staten Island anymore.
They're putting Metro in Walmart now. They're putting Metro in Best Buys now. Like, they're changing everything. They're changing the whole shebang. So the company is completely different. Dennis, you go ahead. Now that we've talked about this, and because, Mike, we kind of scratched on it there, I want Dennis to jump in here.
Sure.
Yes, I mean, the writing was on the wall whenever we started seeing the focus shift away from how customer service operates. I remember on Reddit, there was like a huge thread whenever they talked about T-Force team being like outsourced and only being and that dedicated like T-Force team over social media being like only dedicated to like certain types of calls and stuff like that. There was the issues that T-Mobile always had when it came to say security, right? The breaches. This is not the first breach to happen this year, but look at how they handled it specifically, right? They did everything wrong when it comes to handling something like that, right? They should have been early, upfront about what happened, and had helpful tips to recommend to consumers how to protect themselves and apologized. Instead, they're being shady, like, nah, we didn't see anything. They weren't telling their representatives. I told you about how I called in. I was asking for a credit to be compensated for the trouble, and I got told $25 for just being a good customer, but the rep just straight up denied that it was even a thing, right? You're talking about the phone deals that are happening. Look at the plan. Look at how the plans are going and the promotions that are going for pricing for existing customers, right? There's nothing there for them. Overall, T-Mobile, I would say T-Mobile's being worse than a carrier. They're probably being the biggest detriment to consumers right now in the telecommunications space, I would argue. What they're doing is reminiscent of like a monopolistic is the word I'm trying to say. Thank God.
I was gonna step in there because I heard that term too many times in business class. Monopolistic, not even oligopoly, not even.
Yeah, they're acting like a monopoly right now, especially since they broke every single term in regards to like the merger agreements with Sprint anyway, right? Like, destroying competition like Dish, not even giving them a chance, poaching their own customers and MVNOs. That's really anti-competitive. It's just not great. I'm not a big not really in T-Mobile's camp right now. I got to call them out for it. You know what I'm saying? And as Sneed said, I agree. AT&T has been the most uncarrier of the carriers up to this point.
And I don't know what they could do. I'm actually disappointed in some of the media that covers telecom because they took this long to say this. I have two proposed explanations for why they took so long. Number one, they're either stupid or they're naive. That's the first option, like one of those two, which I don't think it's either of them. I think what it really is they were worried. They didn't want to say anything because they didn't want to get in the bad graces of T-Mobile and their executives. T-Mobile executives are sensitive. They're really sensitive to perception. They're some of the more thin-skinned CEOs. John Stankey doesn't have a social media account. Hans Vestberg would never take anything of offense from a tweet. But at T-Mobile, they feel really sensitive, and they're very mindful of the way that they appear in the public, right? So to me, because of that thin skin, because they feel so sensitive about the whole thing, I think that's why now they try to tiptoe and walk on eggshells about T-Mobile, but they probably have been wanting to say this for a while, but they couldn't do it until the company started nosediving, right? So now, what do I mean by nosediving? Security breaches, the stock is dropping, bad interactions with Dish, they look like the bad guy, they've been screaming how they're winning, right? And if you look at the last few tweets from Neville, we won't stop improving. Wait a minute. You just went from we won't stop improving. A week ago, you were winning everything. 1,000 awards. We're killing everybody. So everybody just pack up your stuff and go home. All the businesses that compete with you should just close, right? Right? So here's the thing. Here's what I've noticed. When in their position of power, their self-proclaimed position of power, they started smelling themselves. They started feeling themselves too much. And they came crashing down to earth. They were up here on Cloud 9 once they got the merger. And once they started to get synergies, making money off of the merger. You got to remember, they added 40+ million customers. That's big revenue boost. And then they're starting to reap the benefits of the synergies of the network. We're starting to see conversions of the Sprint Keep sites. We're starting to see a lot of spectrum go on air. We're starting to see more upgrades at native towers. The network's a lot more capacitive than it's ever been. So now they're winning awards, which I predicted. I said they would start winning Root Metrics awards. And I said they had 16 to 18 months to get ahead of Verizon and AT&T. All these things are happening. It was so easy to predict. It was textbook. And I'm not even in this industry. I'm just a bystander. But I saw it all come together. It was easy. And the worst part about it, honestly, out of all of it, is until that stock took a nosedive, the media never said a word. This whole year, because the stock was at $140, $145. Remember, when the merger cleared and it was approved, the stock shot up to $120. Before that, it was $80. So just from going from T-Mobile and Sprint to now just T-Mobile with Sprint, the stock flew up. Everybody was thrilled. People had Sprint stocks for $4. They're getting in there at 120 some dollars. So like think about that, right? And I swear to you, as soon as the stock went under $130, that's when people started chirping. I respect Roger Entner. I respect Walt Pychek. I respect Mike Dano. I respect all those people, but nobody said anything until this week, and this week is the week the stock went under $130. Tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, I like to think of T-Mobile as the re-carrier, right? So I can explain my rationale for this. Back in the 2G GSM days, you couldn't make a call for half a mile down the road, right? And then, John Ledger came along, made the Uncarrier moves, T-Mobile Tuesdays, stock is up. Sprint merger happened, and then it's kind of, right back to, don't hurt my feelings type of deal, but our network is still the best. I understand why, I don't think it's, I just wish that there was a better way to, reach customers. If it's not the Uncarrier moves, find a different way. Now, there's nothing wrong with growing your customer base, but you just can't leave customers that are so used to like the Uncarrier moves, the Uncarrier movement, the way of doing things to say, oh, we're gonna, charge this and that. We're not going to give the customer service that you're used to, and you can forget about the free phones either.
Big shout out to Kamikaze Kid. Thanks for that super chat, man. I appreciate it. Also, TDN Solutions Technology. I think he had a couple of super chats here. AT&T only offering 36-month online orders, so that'll get you locked in for 3 years on those upgrades. Thanks, man. And AT&T order via phone, get more installment options. Okay, so it looks like they're defaulting people to 36 months if you order online and then you pick up or whatever. So call in, see if you can get a 24-month installment. Your payment's going to be a little bit higher, but I mean, I'm not trying to be in a phone for 3 years, bro.
Yeah, me and Stetson always go on record. We're not big proponents of financing devices.
Not through carriers, right?
Not through carriers, no. If you're gonna finance it, if you must finance it, then do it through like Apple directly, or do it. I think Best Buy offers financing options too if you have their Best Buy card, right? Like,
yeah, Best Buy.
You could always go through, like, and if it's a Galaxy, if you go through Samsung, like, you could just stay within their ecosystem and every year get $800 for your phone on trade-in. Like, you would never lose a dime. You're literally going from 1,000 or more, flagship every year. Then following year, they're going to give you 800 for your trade-in. Mm-hmm. So you're essentially going to do what? Like, what's the S21 going for? Brand new 1,000?
Well, you can get it on Swap, gently used.
No, like if you were to get it from Samsung.
Okay. I think it's like 800.
Yeah, probably 800.
So they're giving you a free phone every year. They're giving you $700-800 for the phone on trade-in on the annual rate.
Well, depending on if you don't go for the Ultra version, yeah. Okay, but most people probably will jump.
Even if you went to the Ultra, you're getting into a $1,300-1,400 phone.
Oh, it's not $1,300. It's only like $1,100, I think.
$1,100. Okay, yeah. So when you go up in the storage options, it goes up, right?
There's only. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's only 2 storage options, isn't there?
What do they got? A 128
and 256.
Yeah, 128.
Okay, so $50 or $100 extra, so it goes up to what? $11.99.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know, man. I just feel like financing with carriers, and we've seen different deals from the carriers. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to do an updated shorts because I just did one for the Verizon upgrade, right? If you go to Verizon for your iPhone 13 Pro Max, whatever, they were doing, I think they were doing 700 or 800. They just moved it to 1,000. These carriers are literally just waiting for each other to move, and then they just match. Right, so AT&T came out with gung ho, guns a-blazing. They matched the same deal they did last year, which was a free phone. Right, so it was a free Pro. I think the max they gave you 1,000, so you had to come out $99. Right, so they give you the bill credits, and then you're going to be financing $99. And if you were trading in like a 12 or whatever, I think you can actually go back to a 10s. They'll give you up to 1,000 on a 10s Max.
I think
On
you
a
can
trade-in.
actually go back further. I think you
Holy
could.
crap.
I think you could actually go back to the original X, the
Okay.
original OG X, I believe, and I think the 8 Plus falls in that same category.
So Verizon was actually giving you less. Now they saw what AT&T did. They probably saw the daily metrics. They're like, "Oh crap, we lost customers to AT&T. Let's go ahead and match it." And then T-Mobile will only match it if you go with their Magenta Max plan. Meanwhile, AT&T will do it for existing and new customers.
And they're not making you change your plan.
They're not making you go to
And
Magenta
they're
Max.
also
They're gonna
probably giving
start
you
unlimited.
They're also giving you like I think even slightly better edge in terms of like when they finance it through with the trade in compared to T-Mobile.
Now, the only thing I will say that I don't like about AT&T is that it takes multiple bill cycles before they start applying the credits. It's not instantaneous.
So
Yeah.
when does it kick in?
1 to 3 months, they say.
Ah, that's the worst. That sucks.
So
I learned-
basically,
Really
long enough that if something does go wrong, you're out of that 30-day window or whatever that grace period is, right? And we know how AT&T is with their biller. Like,
The
Like,
last
look.
time I financed through Verizon, it was on the second month. They said up to 3, and then it kicked in on the second bill.
yeah, but you know what the proper way to do it would be? Apply the credit the first month and assume that everything is in good standing.
Sure.
And then if you don't get the phone or something's wrong with the phone or whatever it is that is wrong, you could always just retroactively go back and start billing them, right? That's the way
Yeah.
you should do it.
Mm-hmm.
The
Oh, I
carrier
learned that
financing
lesson.
is the worst, dude.
Thank you. Yep, I learned my lesson the hard way with the new iPhone last year. I traded in my Note 10 Plus. Thankfully, they gave me good value for it, but just trying to, pay this thing monthly has been a hassle, especially with their trading credit from Verizon. So I learned my lesson. I ain't ever doing a trading from them, or I ain't even financed through them anymore. Any finance going forward, it's like what you guys said. I'm going through Apple because at least with Apple, you can pay it early if you want. You can increase payments, and Apple, there's more flexibility if you're doing an iPhone. That's why more people I think bought through Apple this year with the Apple Card. But then that's why the Apple Card even crashed, I think, on their website.
Big shout out to Green. Thanks for that super chat. Green, I got your email. I will do a shorts for you, bud. That's what I'm doing now. A lot of the viewers, subscribers, those that follow me on Twitter, they're sharing and emailing stuff with me, screenshots. I'm turning them into shorts, bro. People are loving it. They love the shout out. They love being a part, the engagement. I'm having fun making those shorts, man. So keep them coming. If you guys got screenshots, if you're at these games, you're at the Giants game and they're choking, let me know. You're at a Jets game and they're stinking up the joint, let me know.
Don't look at me. I ain't no Jets fan. What are you looking at me for?
Real quick, Snood, who's been based off the current stuff that you've been getting in? Who's been performing best at the stadiums?
Verizon and AT&T. They do DAS systems. They do millimeter wave. It's
Oh, they got
slam dunk.
AT&T's deploying actually millimeter wave at the stadiums.
The one was at AT&T Stadium.
Okay.
So I can confirm that much. The Verizon stuff's everywhere. Like it's a legitimate part of their network. A lot of people try to de-emphasize millimeter wave. They try to poo-poo it.
Don't
just-
do that.
They're just they don't get it because they're not testing it. They don't have access to it. If they tested it, if they saw what it could do, what somebody told me today? Millimeter wave gets congested. Like the craziest thing you'd ever hear, and I'm just like, you know what that tells me? You have never speed tested this. You've never connected. That's what that like. He also told me.
Probably doesn't even know
That-
what it is.
He also told me that if you stand in front of it, it won't work.
I think he's talking about it as a microwave oven, actually. I don't.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, that's right. Because I've done 30 videos or more.
I remember the one that you did well, it wasn't it was fairly recently. You were actually driving in a car, like a moving vehicle.
Getting 4 gigs.
Yeah, it was really impressive, which it came a long way, because I will just say, and I know you'll agree with me on this, the first iteration and execution of millimeter wave was most definitely not optimized or executed properly. Like that first iteration, it really was like if you stood behind a freaking light pole, you might drop that 5G connection. But this new equipment that Verizon's been doing is infinitely better. And I'm super excited to see what happens further on with these different tech companies starting to install special antennas in like buses and other public transportation vehicles. Like it's going to get kind of lit.
It's 2 things, Dennis. It's consumer hardware, too. Our modems have to get better. From what I understand, the limitation right now is mobile handsets. It's actually the hardware that's up on the sites is way beyond what the handsets have. So, Apple's got to kick it up a notch. Samsung's got to kick it up a
They
notch.
added ultra wideband for Verizon in Apple stores. I was able to
nice.
confirm that because I went recently to 2 locations. I went to New Jersey, and then I went to the one here.
You were over there and you didn't get me any speed tests. You didn't get me nothing, bro. I should, man. Your Peruvian necktie coming right up, bro.
Oh yeah. Keep talking about the Peruvian necktie. I will come over there and ankle pick your ass. But anyway, I went to Jersey. You know what it is? Because I didn't notice until like literally the last second I looked at my phone, and I noticed it for both locations. In New Jersey, it was strong, 5 bars, ultra wideband. As a matter of fact, you know what? I might have actually granted your wish because I did do a speed test. You're welcome.
Oh, man. Send it over, dog.
I'll send it over. And
Greedy
the one in
cat.
Staten Island had it too. So I was kind of surprised that, they definitely added it. I guess they did that because they probably figured if they want to push the iPhone with its 5G capabilities, ultra wideband is definitely the way to go for 5G speeds. But also, using the one carrier if you have Verizon, because I didn't see it for AT&T or T-Mobile in the stores. Verizon was the only one that was able to give me ultra wideband connectivity.
Yeah, if I was T-Mobile, I would put an N41 site like 500 feet away from the store. If I was Verizon, I would put a node in the store, for millimeter wave. If I was AT&T, I'd do the same daggone thing. You're going to try to sell people on your devices and your services, show them that what it could do. Big shout out to, I got greens. Big shout out to BF MV416. He said with his $4.99 super chat, or if you have 600 millisecond ping from T-Mobile, that is terrible.
That's your ultra wideband test?
Yeah, this is in the Apple store in Staten Island. I didn't do the one for Jersey.
That's not as good as I was expecting, to be honest.
Yeah, I was disappointed too. I was definitely. But I assume it's probably because the entire store, like all the iPhone models have ultra wideband connected and also probably very few are on. But I was definitely surprised. I won't lie to you.
Big shout out to Obed. Thanks for the super chat, bud. Regular iPhone 13 is a waste of money, TBH.
But if we compare this to, real quickly, when I was in Brooklyn, that's a whole night and day difference.
Oh, man, They got it better optimized there.
Brooklyn's actually a good hotspot for ultra wideband. Went to Coney Island, went to downtown Manhattan. I saw ultra wideband everywhere, especially also the Harry Potter store. If you guys ever in New York hit up the Harry Potter store in Times Square, 5G ultra wideband is in the store. So that was awesome.
Nice.
Dude, you want to know where I want to see 5G crop up? Disney World.
Man, that is crazy you brought that up. Somebody just sent me an email with some screenshots from Disney World.
Because, dude,
who's it up?
Verizon?
No.
AT&T?
Verizon, AT&T are killing it.
Stinking it up. Sorry. I misunderstood you. T-Mobile.
Yeah, they're stinking it up bad. It's like 3 megabits, 1 megabit.
Yeah, no,
they
the reason
struggle at these venues, man.
Yeah, the reason why I mentioned it was because I remember when I was down in Disney World, it was my senior year of high school. I had T-Mobile and AT&T, of course, and T-Mobile was trash down in Disney World.
Thank you.
Trash. Like AT&T was on point. Like I had signal in Epcot, I had signal in all the theme parks. Right, my speeds were like legit fantastic. T-Mobile, I was struggling to get like 2 megabits per second.
So here's what we see with T-Mobile. Where they get the N41 densified, where they upgrade clusters, many sites, the N41 does well. The strength for N41 is in several sites that are receiving the upgrades. You can't do it with one site, and it's become pretty clear and evident of that. Mm-hmm. They need to do it more, but they need to do millimeter wave at these venues.
Well, it's not even just about deploying on all the sites. It's about having sites in the right locations too. I mean, not to get too off track, but Sneed, we were doing Cell Mapper last night, right? Yeah. Look at where my house is, right? I am not in a rural community at all, and T-Mobile is cutting up. You saw I did those speed tests, right? I did the different bands to show you what I was getting.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally garbage coverage, garbage performance.
Every site in Dennis's area should have the full complement of bands, but he doesn't. There's one site that's only, 12 and 66? So that's
Correct.
5 megahertz of band 12, and then I think 15 of band 66.
Correct.
It's number one, not enough bandwidth, and number two, not enough low band, so it doesn't reach his house with any type of proper signal strength.
And a lot of sites, and there was a lot of sites too that were 2 and 12. and which was from that refarmed spectrum. And there's even some sites that are just straight up band 66 only.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, band 4 and 66, but it's the way it's set up is it's.
Go ahead, Zero Pool.
I think once the towers are, yes, that's one piece of the problem, right? But I think once they have massive MIMO radios and antennas in them instead of this, the original 4x4 MIMO antennas, it's going to be a lot better. This is going to what that's going to do. It's actually going to be the same speed that's what your radio is getting. That's the same speed that your phone is going to getting, and that's the only can happen over a standalone connection, right? So you're pretty much going from a duplex link from radio on the tower to radio on your phone, and hopefully I'm just surprised that we haven't seen that technology in the phones yet, but it's going to happen pretty hopefully within a year or two. I'm confident on that, but
N41's not holding down a stadium, dog.
No, it's you're right. It's not. There definitely need to be a more push towards IDAS systems and millimeter wave nodes and in stadiums and businesses and stuff like that. I know that's what T-Mobile's plans are. I know that's what they're trying to do. It's just a lot of it is also a CapEx issue, but
if T-Mobile doesn't want to put in permanent solutions, here's a hot take and a proposed solution that I would recommend. Just lease access to like basically all the Wi-Fi access points in the stadium. Make it so that you can connect to those on the T-Mobile connections and lease priority access for all your customers during the big games if you don't want to deploy a permanent solution in those stadiums. That would help out infinitely.
Big shout out to Qais. Thanks for the super chat. Will the X65 or X70 get MIMO? I think that's a tower site thing, isn't it? I think the devices have it. I know that some of them do.
The towers both the devices have to have it actually. So
4x4 MIMO has been around for a while.
No, he's talking about something else.
He's talking about the multi MIMO, multiple user massive MIMO.
I got excited about that about a year ago, or right at the end of the Sprint era, wasn't it? Zero Cool?
Yeah, Sprint was the one that was using
right.
it, right?
But that's actually what he's talking about. Is actually the newest technology, and that's going to be what's called multi-user. So multi-user MIMO is a multi-user massive MIMO. So that's actually going to be enabled once 128 by 128 transmit and receive happens, and once that happens, the standalone will also happen. So we gotta waste. There's a ways to that, right? But like I said, you have to have the phone instead of just pushing like a 4x4 mid-band connection. The phone has to support those massive MIMO radios and antenna configurations as well.
I'm gonna make a slightly spicy take here.
Here we go.
But I actually get really tired of talking about like we need to have this phone to support this thing for T-Mobile's network to be good, because that statement has been being said since 2013. Like I remember 2013 when I was using T-Mobile, I had an iPhone 6, right? Oh, the network was bad because iPhone 6 didn't support band 12, right? So I get an iPhone 7, right? It has band 12, it has band 2, it has band 4. Oh, the network is bad because T-Mobile doesn't have X, Y, and Z thing, right? So, I get a Galaxy S8, right? It supports 4x4 MIMO, peak speeds up to 1.2 gigabits per second over LTE,
right.
all this different tech. The network is bad because, N71 is going to be the thing that saves T-Mobile's graces. So, the thing keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. But meanwhile, networks like Verizon and AT&T are able to deploy good quality networks across the board, even for some pretty old devices that are out there, right? Like, you could literally have an iPhone, I would say 8, and still have a pretty great time on AT&T.
Yeah, I keep on stressing this when people ask me this question, I say, why is my network experience not as good, or, why is it always failing? And I keep on saying, we need density. Density is the key. If you have enough towers, if you have a good cluster of sites.
Small cells.
Small cells. It's a mix. It's a mixed bag. You densify with both, right? You have macro towers, you have small cells, you have pico cells, you have DAS systems, you have rooftop towers, you have shared LTE connections over CBRS, right? If you have a good what we call in the RF world is a mixed bag of RF technologies, and within clusters, different environments, different RF configurations and environments, you will have a good experience, but it does take a lot of money. It does take a lot of capex. It takes, as Dave said, make small cells great again, right? It does. So basically, when I left Verizon, that was when there was just macro towers everywhere. This is before small cells, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were actually
focusing on their band 13 footprint.
Yeah, the band 13 and AWS. This is I was doing the PCS and 850s, but we were strategizing on how to, we can't just put macros up everywhere, right? So we're actually having strategy sessions on what to do next, and then obviously a year or two later, it's what the small cells do, right? So I know it's frustrating. Believe me, I know, but it takes the mixed bag of network capex and expenditure and people out there to to engineer it, to test it, to make calls, to do the hard stuff, right? So it's just take a look at like what T-Mobile's or what AT&T's network was 10, 15 years ago, what till it is now, right? It's a lot better. So it does take time.
Big shout out to Green. Thanks for the super chat. I got your email, Green. I will be doing a shorts on that video, on that email you sent me, so I will be using it for a video. And what we know about T-Mobile, my friend, is that some markets are absolutely incredible. Like where Pete's at in Longmont, where Stetson is and stuff. T-Mobile is tremendous. And that, hats off to their networking team that's over there. I give them a lot of credit. I feel like when the network performs well in a specific market, we give the engineers the credit. They're getting a budget. They're doing things right with that budget. So I give them their credit. There are some markets, I will say my market is very Jekyll and Hyde. Some of these sites are tremendous. Some of them are very nice. And I've tested sites that have been a nightmare. I've been pretty close to some sites, and I've struggled with certain frequencies. So I've seen the whole gamut over here.
I'll tell you a quick story. Okay. I'm going to tell you all a quick story. So in 2014, when we moved out here from Brooklyn to Staten Island, there was zero signal on Staten Island. So imagine 2014, this place is a hotspot for Verizon and AT&T. Well, no, not even AT&T, only Verizon. Verizon was the only carrier that worked on Staten Island. And I remember when we first moved out here, no signal whatsoever. Not even for AT&T. Sprint, I wasn't sure. But I remember when we first moved out here, first thing we did was we installed those boosters. Maybe 1 or 2 bars, that was it. As time went on, it got a little bit better, but Verizon was getting a lot better. I remember my sister-in-law would have, easier messages going through, and I'm still struggling. But when I was in high school, it worked better in certain locations. It was like the South Shore, and then you had like the North Shore of Staten Island. So we were more towards the South Shore. The South Shore was a dead zone. It wasn't until 2017 that it finally felt like it wasn't even LTE. It was 4G. They couldn't even get LTE on the South Shore. That's how bad it was in the beginning. But thankfully it got better. And I swear on my mother. I swear on everything. As soon as John Ledger left T-Mobile, it was like it all went right back. That's why we left Verizon. Verizon.
I just got this from Pete. I just got this from Pete in Longmont. We got a 708 down, 15 on the up. So that's a pretty good speed test from T-Mobile N41. 23 millisecond ping, 9 millisecond jitter. It's very good. And this is what I said. Like there's a wide spectrum of outcomes with this networking stuff from place to place.
Yeah, like I'm
to Terrence. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Go ahead, Dennis.
I was just gonna say I'm no fool. I know T-Mobile performs exceptionally well in New York, out where Stetson is, out in different parts of Los Angeles, possibly, and like other places. But I will just say, my market pretty much overall consistently bad, like just across the board. I was actually thinking of another.
We're still trying to figure out where all the 600 megahertz is, Dennis.
Dude.
Who owns it? Like, they only have 5 megahertz on NR and they got 5 megahertz on LTE. Where's the rest of it?
Dude, I don't know. But listen, I was thinking of another take. He brought up the topic about boosters, which I remember because I used one of those back in the day.
The band 12 boosters?
Well, even before that, just the ones that had bands 2 and 4. They used to have like old school ones, but they haven't updated those things. They have not updated those boosters in like 5 years. And what I was thinking was, here's another hot take. T-Mobile should update the boosters, both of them, the ones that run off like a person's home internet and the ones that like amplify the actual signal. And they should give people that use the home internet one a $5 discount, a really small, minute discount, right? But it would add so much coverage. Like, a picture of somebody put that in their apartment complex, right? You figure 30 people will probably connect to that one booster, and it's not even using T-Mobile's backhaul. It's free backhaul for them, right? No data usage, nothing, right? And they're getting that little bit of extra coverage.
Facts. Big
like
facts.
That would be so smart. That would be such a smart play.
I think the new booster does use an Ethernet cable. I think the new boosters that we've seen, I don't think they work with the internet though, but they don't have a separate antenna anymore now.
Now it's the old one.
It's the old.
That's the old. That's one of the old ones they rolled out that only supports bands 2, 4, and 12.
Oh, okay. Because the new one, they just sent it to the house like a few days ago, and this one, I mean, it looks a lot more polished. I'll say that much. But this one is just one piece, and it just works off the internet. Like, you got to connect it to an Ethernet.
Yeah, they have 2 boosters. They have the one where it's like actually amplifying the signal, and then they have one that you actually hook up to your home internet. And I'm saying they should update both of those. So the one that connects to your home internet, they should be making it so it broadcasts bands 2, 4, 12, 71,
everything,
and 5G as well.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is to incentivize people to actually use them, they should give people a $5 discount. Because I've talked about this before minorly, but Comcast, right? They have a bunch of hotspots, Wi-Fi hotspots in my market. How do you think they do that? It's not like they're building all the hotspots themselves. Those rental pieces of equipment that they're giving out to consumers, they're broadcasting like a hidden frequency to have people connect, right?
It's somewhere in the 5 gigahertz range, isn't it?
Yeah, they're doing it on 2.4 and 5 gigahertz.
Oh, they are doing 2.4. Okay.
Yeah, 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. It shows Xfinity Wi-Fi. You're capped out at like 30 megabits per second. But look, for what it is, it's a very effective way to get Wi-Fi coverage in places that you might not otherwise have. Maybe you're at Starbucks or something, right?
Yeah.
In that same vein, if T-Mobile wanted to incorporate a similar idea, give people these cell spots, right? It's a good way to get coverage in those hard to penetrate apartment complexes that are built out of like solid brick, right? Maybe it connects like 30 people. And like I said before, they don't have to worry about paying for any of the bandwidth costs. The customer that's hooking it up is the one that's paying for the bandwidth. If they have a data cap, that's their issue,
What's up, Bo? Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming through, man. I wanted to get to this one. There was from Alexis. Thanks for the super chat, Alexis. Appreciate the support. The average consumer has no way of knowing which carrier will be best for them. Home signal, travel signal, work signal. How to change that? He ain't lying, man. So, like, people aren't savvy enough to look at a cell mapper. People aren't savvy enough to say, well, let me just try each one each month. Let me get an MVNO or let me ask around, like you might ask a friend, hey, what provider do you have? If they frequent similar areas, they'll tell you, well, I have this and it's pretty good, or I have this and it hasn't been great. They're not really, they don't know how to navigate the waters, I think is what we're saying here.
I would say, like, nowadays, because I'm gonna be honest, like, I feel like we use that word average consumer, like we're stringing it through the mud at this point. I call people the general consumers now. I stopped calling people average because we're all just general users at this point. We're not average. We're above average.
I think most of us here are,
above.
I mean, if we're selecting bands and we're aware of these icons and what they represent, you're already beyond the general consumer.
Yeah, you're above that. But
Like,
I'll
to
say,
set-
like,
Oh.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just to set a perspective, like at least when I refer to average consumers, I'm talking about like your mom or your dad. who doesn't even know what 5G is, right?
I think they're not even in average anymore. I don't even think they qualify. That's how far back. I think, especially my dad. My mom might be there, but not my dad.
Those are the people that are usually the ones being the account holders. They're the ones that have the money, right? Like, it's not really that common for someone my age to just be buying separate cell phone plans, right? Like, realistically speaking, if I wasn't me, I would probably have one phone line and just be on my dad's family plan because that's cheap and effective, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be, and if I wasn't nerdy, I wouldn't be looking at like, what bands are in my market. I wouldn't be looking at, the difference between the A14 and the A15 processor on iPhone. You'd be like, oh, it's a newer iPhone, right? Like, like that's the way the average consumer works. Like, oh, it's newer, it's probably better, right? That's usually how it works. 5G, bigger number, probably works. Is there bars on my phone? Probably works. They probably don't even have the speed test app on their phone. They probably don't even know what it is.
They probably don't. No, they don't even. And for me, like, if it weren't for me, they probably wouldn't even know half the stuff they know now. So it's because of me. But I feel like the best way we can help consumers, like when it comes to what signal is best for them, there was something interesting that T-Mobile released. It was an app. Now I don't know how accurate that is, but it was like an app that allows you to try out their network. I feel like if carriers had like that for a 24-hour eSIM on your phone, because nowadays most people have, eSIMs on iPhone and probably some Androids have those.
A 24-hour eSIM sounds like a good idea. Or
maybe, like just a test run,
yeah.
And then if it works for you, you sign up for a plan. If it doesn't work, then at least you did like a test run, and you could charge people. It don't have to be free.
T-Mobile's doing a month, man, or 30 gigs. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
T-Mobile's on point.
That gives you some time to test, right?
Yeah, T-Mobile's on point, and Mint's doing the same thing, and there's lots of carriers that are doing that. The ones that aren't doing it are AT&T and Verizon, and the reason why they're not doing that is it's because it's kind of obvious. They've already established in the mind share of the market that they have reliable networks. They don't have to prove anything.
Yeah, that's true. I will say though, as crappy and as much we talk about T-Mobile and their marketing and everything, for them to do the whole month trial, even if it's 30 gigs, and even if it doesn't work, like you said, it's a good way to market yourselves and try to get more consumers. And I will definitely add that, for all intents and purposes, I will say there's one area that T-Mobile has that I think most of the other carriers don't have, and I give them a lot of credit for it, especially for my parents, the senior citizens discount and military discount. I feel like they do a really good job with that, especially for the 55 and older, because first responders and also military and veterans, like, they do such a great job of taking care of them. So I got to give T-Mobile some credit on that. So I can't be like, oblivious. I feel like if Verizon were to up that more, I feel like there would be a better, there'd be better ground.
T-Mobile's 55 plus was pretty exciting when it came out, but I don't like how T-Mobile implements it. Like, for example, I know down in Florida, T-Mobile has a special 55 plus plan that you can't get elsewhere, and I find that a little bit shady. I like how AT&T does their discounts. AT&T gives discounts to pretty much everybody. You got an AARP card, you get one. You're a student, you get one. You're a nurse, you get one, right? But Green, thank you so much for the super chat and the question directed to me. He asked if I think they should extend the day of the 3G shutdown. Because for him, he already sees the difference in speed. Because for him, he doesn't see a difference in speed after the shutdown. I feel like 3G and 2G are things that have to go at some point. I wish they would have kept to the original timetable and not moved it up, because I don't really see an actual reason that T-Mobile needs to be doing the shutdown anyway. Like, they have lots of spectrum that's not being used. But on the same token, I really want to move forward and get away from these like aged technologies. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Cody. Appreciate you, Cody. Thanks for the super chat. There was one here. Hometown Custom PC. He just said T-Mobile suck. That's all I had to say about that. Oh man.
Well, Sneed, yeah. I think we beat this topic like a pretty dead horse. Do you want to move on to maybe talking about
5G, fixed wireless access?
Yeah.
And fiber.
Okay.
You're my guy, bro. You're my guy on the fiber. All right. Here is a little bit of insight from Verizon's business markets president, Aparna Kurajakar. I hope I said that right. It's a very ethnic name. Never seen it before. So she's new to me. I do know most execs at these places because I follow everything. But maybe she's newly hired or something. Verizon has been adding diversity to their staff, so that's pretty cool. All right, so she gave us some insight. All the 5G nodes need fiber. We're aggressively laying out fiber for 5G in all the right places. She says 5G is the future of bandwidth connectivity, and we need fiber to push it. So I think we're seeing a signal here from Verizon. They are going to leverage their fiber specifically for 5G. What does that mean, Dennis? They're not going to homes with the dedicated fiber. They're going to nodes with the fiber. And then they're going to spray it. Right?
Yep.
So instead of running it to the house as you proposed, and I loved your idea, build a new house, conduit for fiber. I love that, right? They're not into this. They want to keep it on properties, city properties, right? They're taking the power away from the home user, right? And they're keeping the power with them. Fiber is the power. I really view it as the driving force of bandwidth, right? So she also said laying fiber cable over long distances and wide areas is expensive and difficult, but 5G wireless broadband could prove a worthwhile investment for those communities. Because what they're going to do, Dennis, is I think they're going to be a big part of the government funding for fixed wireless, right? So the last mile, they want to be that for wireless. That's going to be Verizon's calling card. AT&T is going to do fiber to home, and they're going to capitalize on that. So where's T-Mobile in all this? N41. Like, that's literally their solution. So Verizon, it's 5G fixed wireless through ultra wideband, and then AT&T is fiber to home, and then T-Mobile is N41.
Yeah, I can tell you that Verizon has the right approach here, because if with with fixed wireless 5G, this in my eyes has a benefit over fiber, just fiber to the home, meaning with the small cells, with like indoor DAS systems. See, with private LTE networks, such as like CBRS, you have Spider Cloud systems, right, that are enterprise RAN systems, right, that can be put into businesses, put into stadiums, put into large corporations, with small cells and stuff like that, and especially with the Spider Cloud systems that are so scalable, you can easily service way more customers and be more profitable than just doing a fiber to the home here and there, right? You're like the scalability and the serviceability is a lot greater when you do the fixed wireless solution versus just a fiber to the home, and it's way more profitable as well.
I need to see some analysis, and this is courtesy of Dennis. He got me thinking last night. He's seeing Verizon Fios at a 84% uptime.
Based off my Dream Machine Pro.
So that feels a little bit low. Fiber traditionally is up in the 90s, like 98, 99.
99.
Even Fios is typically much higher, right? So Dennis's experience shows us that it's never perfect. I want to see the uptime for 5G home for multiple places. Now, we get no information from Verizon. They tell us nothing about 5G home numbers, the ads, its adoption rate. They don't want to do that until next year because they haven't scaled it, right? It's really going to be about C-band. Once the C-band gets going, because they're going to have a 60 megahertz channel of it, and then, in my estimation, I'm truly not going to be judging Verizon Home Internet until they have 160 megahertz on air. So that's 2023. I will then judge the product as a final product because you need wide channels to do home internet. 60 megahertz won't cut it. This is why I only like the ultra wideband option through millimeter wave right now. Even the 60 megahertz C-band may only give somebody 500 to 800 megabits down. So it's not going to give you gigabit speed like the millimeter wave will. So I'm going to wait, and I'm not going to judge Verizon just yet. But once they get a wider channel, or whatever aggregation they could do, once we get towards the 200 megahertz range, then I'll start addressing, okay, is this stuff as good as fiber in terms of uptime, reliability, and speed?
So I can speak to that a little bit. So yeah, so your fiber is basically, yeah, you will for basic fiber to the home, you will have about a 99%, 98%, uptime. But here's the difference between a fiber connection and your fixed wireless. When your fiber is cut, like a fiber to the home, the AT&T is, you're down, right? You're down hard, you're screwed. Versus the fixed wireless solution that, especially on millimeter wave for Verizon, you're going to have, multiple small cells, right, in a given area, or multiple IDAS systems, which is indoor distributed antenna systems, or if you're in a corporation or business, you're going to have multiple, 2 or 3 spider cloud systems. So, for example, if one of those small cells, or if one of those nodes, okay, because it's about anywhere from 50 to 100 nodes, for example, in like a spider cloud, for example, you're still going to be fine.
Are you saying that the redundancy will be there?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Like if you're going to have multiple fiber connections, because your fiber can be spliced going to each little node.
So it'll compensate for that perceived,
right, because
go down and
because each small cell node has its own fiber. Okay. You can do it a couple of ways. You can do one fiber to the small cell pole, or if you want to do it along the string and along the telephone lines, you can do it that way too. It just depends on what configuration you have. And especially with a spider cloud, there's anywhere between 25 to 30 fiber strands, depending on what size business, right? So it's extremely redundant versus just one single fiber going to the home, from AT&T.
Green, just to answer your question, thank you for the super chat. I have seen the plans. It's going to be tiered. There will be a 300 megabit tier. There'll be a 500. I think there's also going to be an 800. So unless that goes to full gigabit speed, that's what you could look at. There's definitely going to be slicing and dicing, right? They're going to give you a specific bandwidth allocation. Like they're going to give you a specific max throughput, and they're going to manage the capacity that way, which is different than traditional fiber, gig up, gig down. Like Moose has been insinuating, 2 gigs up, 2 gigs down from AT&T, which is pretty cool. I think fiber is the end game. Let's keep that in mind. If fiber comes your way, you are taking fiber. If fiber does not come your way, if it comes in the form of a Verizon line going down your street and then getting run up poles, you take it because Cox sucks. All right, and that's your other option. You take the Verizon 5G home.
So, on the topic of what Verizon's doing, I think 5G millimeter wave is great, especially if it means they're going to finally get rid of their DSL serviced areas. That's fantastic. Much better option. Real competition. All well and good. I also understand that it is, in some ways, cheaper and multi-beneficial to deploy those millimeter wave sites over running fiber to someone's home. But if we're talking about long-term, maintenance for fiber is generally much lower. You're going to have typically less problems with fiber. And it's also truly future-proof. Like you're never going to be revisiting this like millimeter wave cell site to yank out equipment and replace it because, usage across the board has spiked because some new company just decided to build a building there and rely on your 5G service, right?
That's true.
And wireless anything is inherently always going to have drawbacks over any type of actual hardwire connection, even if it was like coaxial cable. And I know for certain use cases, specifically with carrier-based wireless solutions, it's not going to be an actual usable answer. Cases that come to mind are things like for if someone needs a static IP address, for example, or if they need to have full control over the ports that are being utilized, right? With how carriers do their networking and their NAT management and stuff like that, it gets a little tricky and hairy, right? And that's how 5G millimeter wave for Verizon is going to work. It's going to have those problems. So it doesn't serve the role of being able to provide service to those most hardcore of users, which when you think of home-based internet, I think of the most hardcore use cases, right? Because on your home-based internet, that's where you're going to have your desktop. That's going to be where you have your NAS. That's going to be where your home security stuff is. That's where all your Internet of Things clients are. With work from home, that's where you're doing your VPN, right? These are all things that happen over home internet. These are not use cases that happen on your phone, right? On your phone, you're consuming content. You're posting a tweet. But on home internet, totally different story about what the use case looks like, especially too if we're talking about data usage, right? I'm a single person. I'm using 2 terabytes a month on average. That's exceptionally high, right? I could blow up one of those 5G millimeter wave nodes if I really wanted to try hard enough, right? I could blow it up. Like I could really consume all that data. Like if I really, really wanted to try. And by try, I mean I'd really have to be like basically seeding a bunch of torrents and stuff. But I'm just saying I could blow up that capacity, right?
I'd love to see that. That would be a sweet test, dude.
I mean, if I wanted, listen, I'm not saying my day-to-day would blow it up, but I'm saying if I wanted to try, I could blow it up.
I'd love to see what it could handle. I mean, the nice thing about the millimeter wave is it hasn't peaked. So it's not even. We still haven't really hit the ceiling on it. We've got to get to. We don't even have 4x4 MIMO on millimeter wave. It's 2x2.
And specifically, though, I think the biggest problem with millimeter wave is not going to be downstream capacity. It's going to have the same problem that cable has at the moment, which is upstream capacity. That's going to be the.
We're seeing 300 megs up now.
Are they actually using millimeter wave for the uplink now?
Yeah.
Okay. I last I saw they were still using LTE and it was capping around 100.
So I was gonna say you're probably getting the band 2, band 66 uplink combo.
Yeah, that's still the it's still the LT, but on the uplink. But I mean, like, let me ask you guys a question. If let's say if you're surrounded by millimeter wave nodes, are you gonna be worried that one goes down? No, because you're still gonna have other ones that are gonna pick you up. I mean, it's gonna be we haven't hit the tip of the iceberg with millimeter wave yet. It's not mature. It's not. I mean,
and
it's
then
just
what
not.
about the upside in aggregating midband?
Yes.
What about the beam forming for midband? Like that's the way I look at the networking. A lot of people kind of look at
everything.
They're like, oh, I like midband, and to hell with the millimeter wave. What you mean, bro? Like, you should love everything. Like, love the low band when you're in somebody's basement and you can make a call.
The way I look at it's like this: if you're gonna spend all the money and get the government funds right to run this fiber,
you muted me, didn't you? I hate you, Sneed. I hate you. But you thought I didn't notice?
But look, I'll say it again. Like, if you're gonna put all this money into laying fiber down across these pools, right? At that point, to get because a millimeter wave site, let's be realistic here, Sneed. A millimeter wave site for it to service a home properly and effectively probably needs to be within, I would say, 150 feet.
No.
You guys want me to tell you a secret? The fiber.
Listen to his voice. Watch out.
No. I'm not. No. The fiber the fiber for small cells is actually cheaper than fiber to the home. A lot cheaper.
Well, what specifically is making it much cheaper?
It's a couple things. One, you don't have to run for when you're doing fiber to the home, you have to run a big fiber trunk to wherever the PEDs are, right, in the terminals, and then smaller fiber strands to wherever to the curb or to the customer's house. With the small cell setup, it's like you're only running about 2 or 3, right? So it's like a lot less fiber strands going. And the better thing is that if you have a big fiber trunk cable, you can actually splice it out into like 50 or 100 pairs and create small cells that way, right? So it's a lot less. It costs a lot less, and you can deliver a lot more in a neighborhood.
Yeah, but with GPON, they can already split up a main fiber into 32 strands for like 32 households, right? And then from there, it's just running that pre-made fiber that techs have. Like, they're not even like when my technician did my install, they didn't even do like an actual splicing. Like, they didn't bring out the machine. They had a pre-made little fiber cable they already ran.
Oh, they just attached it.
Yeah, it's like a pre-made drop pretty much. But I mean it goes back to the I'm thinking more from like a CapEx customer perspective. For example, are you going to service 32 people in a residential neighborhood, are you going to service 320 people in a neighborhood? Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just a lot more beneficial and cheaper. But if people have that option to do fiber to the home plus millimeter wave access, then do both. That's
Yeah,
the
that's pretty
ticket.
fancy.
So
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you get Verizon offering you one and then AT&T offering you another,
exactly.
or Comcast
Yeah.
or Spectrum, go ahead, Technoid.
No, I would say like I'll be honest with you. Like 5G, millimeter wave for me. I mean, like you said before, we're just scratching the tip of the iceberg or the tip of the stone. And I've seen there's a lot of potential here, especially when I went to Rolling Loud. When I was in Rolling Loud, it was so congested in that one area. I think it was I forgot where it was in Miami. I forgot the stadium name, but outside the stadium there was millimeter wave ultra wideband, and I was connected to that network, and I was able to get my phone calls, my text messages. I was able to get everything through, where everybody was struggling for literally the whole night to post on Snapchat, Instagram. The network just got so congested, but once I got on ultra wideband, everything went through like it was nothing. So I feel like there is room and there is potential there for it to grow. But when we're talking fiber, as a fiber optics customer, nothing beats fiber optics. So I'd love to see what they do if they can combine the two.
And my main problem is basically that Verizon's deployment of this millimeter wave is a very similar concept to how cable operates, right? Cable runs fiber to the node. Maybe they connect 500 households to that one node, and there's usually some amps along the way, right? It's a very similar premise, and we already see the challenges that cable faces, right? Like they're talking about doing high splits to get more upstream channels to meet upcoming demands, focusing on DOCSIS 4.0. And some cable providers are ultimately determining that, instead of investing this money for DOCSIS 4.0, it's better just to do fiber to the home, right? I know I feel bad for mentioning them, but Cox, Cox in new build communities is just doing straight up fiber deployments. Like they're just doing straight up fiber. Like they're not even bothering with cable, right? Even though it's a little bit more expensive, it's ultimately the better investment, right?
Stop the blasphemy. I'm going to call the FCC on that one.
No,
Right,
I was just reading.
the
I was just reading a thing on Reddit that was talking about. That's why it caught my eye. But Cox and new builds in green areas are basically just doing fiber. They're skipping over coax, right?
Yeah, whatever.
And I don't know what the range. Like Sneed, you said 150 feet was too short for a millimeter wave small cell. Okay, is it 300 feet like a football field? Is that
They reach blocks.
What's a block? Like translate that to feet for me real quick.
500 to 1,000 feet is a cinch.
Okay, 500 feet. Let's go with 500 feet.
What up, Los?
So for 500 feet, at that point, it's not that far to run fiber. Like most companies, like
You know what 500 feet is by the bakery, the neighborhood? You know what 500 feet covers?
Oh no.
what?
Like 30, 40 homes.
Ooh.
They're the homes. There's no yards. They're tight. It's like Brooklyn homes.
Right.
Oh,
So
You know what I'm talking
yeah.
about. How they're real tight. There's no yard. It's just
Yeah.
house after house after house after house. All it is a driveway separating the homes. There's no yard or anything like that. So they're strategically doing that. They know they've run the analytics. They know what it costs, and they're still offloading mobility traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the other thing is fiber can't. I mean, fiber feasibly cannot be ran underground to every single house in America. We would love it to be,
Yeah, but
it's-
they hang it in a lot of
They hang
instances.
it, yeah, I know, but like, there's, I read articles. There's places in New York to where they can't even get fiber anymore, because they don't want to drill, or they don't want to, they don't want to bury it or anything else.
Which is why on I think this is more of a behind the scenes. Like I don't know if I actually said it on the show, but I said what I would like to see happen is I'd like to see officials step in and basically run whenever a new house gets built. Right now, you get your electric installed, your water installed. Fiber.
I would love that.
Fiber should be
Yes.
installed for the
Yes.
end user's house in conduit, and then instead of a specific provider owning that fiber to the house, it would be owned by the property owner. And all that would happen is if Fios wants to service that house, they just connect to that already fiber strand that's ran. If Comcast wants to come to that house, all they do is unplug the fiber from Verizon network and plug it in the Comcast network. That would solve a lot of last mile problems and would provide meaningful, true competition in the most faithful way possible. Because fiber is the gold standard. I don't like the excuse that it can't happen in America, in my personal opinion, I'm sorry if I'm going to offend anybody, it's just bullshit, because we have spent way more money on deploying infrastructure in the U.S. than lots of other countries who have done leaps and bounds better jobs. It's just the money got squandered. Like my state of Pennsylvania, Verizon was supposed to have deployed fiber to every single household in my state. We took money from the 911 recovery fee that my state has, and this is billions of dollars all the way back in like 1996. And we've extended the deadline multiple times for them, like all the way up to like 2015. And they straight up just pocketed that money and got a slap on the wrist. Right? They did not fulfill their
AT&T
promise.
did that a lot in like Mississippi and stuff like that. What I wanted to get to real quick, Vlad, I can give you only what I've seen from C-band. NSA, so the non-standalone, so still LT is the backbone. I've seen a 60 megahertz channel do 850 megs down. So that's the best I've seen. So if you want to go ahead and extrapolate that, a 100 megahertz of C-band should be just fine for a gig. Now, once you put load on it, then it's a different ball game. Once you go 160 megahertz, 180, 200, like Verizon will eventually have, you're going to essentially double your throughput capacity. So it'll be fine. They spent $50 billion on this shit. It will be fine.
We need to have Biden include a national fiber build out in this $3 trillion infrastructure package.
Yeah.
Dude, I wish he would. I mean, listen, I'll put it to you this way.
How many years does it need, though? That's the question.
Probably
whatever it's
5
going to take.
years.
Okay, whatever it's going to take. I want a start date. I want an end date.
Yes.
Just make it happen.
Make it happen.
Come on, bro. People graduate college in 5 years.
And they can do vaccines. Why can't they do fiber? I mean, come on.
Listen. I know I'm going to get comments to probably say socialist Dennis, but honestly, people say it in the stream sometimes because of how I talk about things. But listen, honestly, I look at internet access and specifically fiber to people's homes, like high-speed broadband. I look at it the same way as like electricity back in like the 20s and 30s and stuff like that, where people, because if you look back in history, man, electric companies were the same way, right? Rural America got screwed over, and then FDR basically came up with this big new deal for infrastructure, and he said, nah, every household in America is getting freaking electric. And look, and jokes aside, look at what that did for us, though, right? If we didn't have every household having electric, we would not have all the products that we have today. We would not have had the economic growth that we have today either. And internet is that same way. Like, people don't realize this, but like, even something as simple as farming is not simple anymore. Farmers have tons of equipment monitoring like soil and temperature and pest control and all these other things that need internet access. And if they had fast, reliable internet, we might even get to the point where farming gets even more automated with like robotics, right? Removing people.
Well, they're definitely going to end up doing private networking, 100%. They are 100% going to do that. Whoever wants to be the builders of those private networks, we'll see who it is.
And look, if companies don't want to do it, fine, but get this bullshit out of the way where like they're closing down local municipalities from making their own fiber. Like that's awesome.
That's what they did in Ohio.
I would love Ubiquity to tackle that project. It would be nice to have them do it.
Dude, Ohio's they tried to do that
Ubiquity.
in Ohio.
I have Ubiquity Dream Machine Pro, man. I love Ubiquity's equipment. It's great.
Yeah, they're great. I would love, if more companies. That's the problem. Like, it's like no company wants to take the risk. That's the big,
I mean, there's not really. I mean, the investment's high, but it's not really a risk. Internet service is probably one of the most profitable businesses out there. The profit margin is something like 90%. Like, it's something really stupid to see. And I don't think there's I literally don't think there's a higher profit driving. Like, if we're talking about profit margins, I don't think there's a higher.
You didn't watch American Gangster, bro?
Nah,
opiates.
Like, I'm not joking. The profit margin on like internet is something like legit, like 90%. Like, literally, a gigabyte of data costs less than water. Like, from your cap.
Yep.
It's stupid cheap.
It's true. It is.
Cody,
I just don't know why companies.
I gotta address Cody's statement here. If I was the FCC chairman, I wouldn't last a month. Somebody be sniping me from the rooftop. I'm telling you, dog. I don't play nice, bro. Like,
if I was the FC chairman, I'd be assassinated 2 days in. Like, I would literally reinstate net neutrality with real freaking teeth to it. That would be the first thing I would do. And I would be fucking telecom's worst nightmare. Like,
what would you do about a Jeep Pie? What would you do?
Boot him or fix his teeth?
I think I would
Shit,
last.
he's kicked out. But no, legit, every telecom provider would actually hate me. Like they would hate my goddamn guts. Like all the companies that took government money and didn't fulfill their promises, like CenturyLink, Frontier, all those guys, they'd either be paying up or doing something real quick, or they're losing all their assets and it's being auctioned off to recoup the losses. I would straight up take their.
Yes.
Oh, Sneed's
I would love that.
Read, Dennis, read.
I would do
solar
that.
panel with. Wait, how about solar panel with an
Integrated Skylink antenna?
Are you talking about for like
satellite, like Starlink? Yeah, I would do it.
Yeah,
I would so do that.
Yeah, I mean, that
solves the internet problem, and it solves global warming all in one shot.
Yeah.
Biden, where are you?
We have a solution.
0 emissions and 1,000 megabits
internet.
per second.
Everybody's
Listen.
fucking happy.
Listen, Biden, real quick, if you look at Biden, he is not cutting back on oil and gas at all. Like, oil and gas is going to be oil and gas. Like,
We're probably, like 30, 35 years of transition still.
Yeah,
I know we
there's
hit
gonna be-
peak in like 2019, but like
Sneed,
they're
by
still
the
looking
time,
for reserves.
Sneed, you're what? Almost, you're 35, right?
I'm older than that, man. Just stop guessing, though.
Okay. Well, by the time I'm your age, Sneed, okay, half of California is going to be burned away by the time we start getting into like actually doing Green New Deal stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Like by the time I'm your age, that's the kind of world I'm going to probably be seeing. like legit, people are not being proactive enough. Like we should literally be in the process of shutting down coal plants. And honestly,
coal is a major problem.
Yeah.
Honestly, hot take, but I'm a big proponent of nuclear energy.
Yes,
it is a
absolutely.
very robust technology. I actually think in some ways I think it's better than solar.
Perfect. It's almost perfect. Nuclear is almost perfect. It's just the waste. That is when you look at the amount of power that could be produced. Actually, it's not even 100% recovery. We can't even contain all the power that's made at a plant, right?
Right.
But they're shrinking the amount of waste that's produced in the reactors. So it's like things have gotten better for nuclear. And the more you run it, the more the return, right? So if it runs for 30, 40, 50 years, which it can, it's an incredible amount of energy potential. I mean, a nuclear reactor is running what? 5 counties? You know, like
we have a nuclear power around my area.
What does it run? How many counties? 3?
Oh, I want to say it's like 6.
6?
But like, listen, the reason why I say nuclear is because it's great because it doesn't take up a lot of actual space. Like you only need like one power plant to service a bunch, and that excess energy can also be sold off to neighboring states depending on where it's located. And it's reliable. Like it's not like you don't have to start, say for example, with solar, you have to invest in a bunch of batteries, which creates its own problems because of how batteries are made, right? So like nuclear is like the darn near closest thing to perfect. I know there's risk to it, and people get scared about being by nuclear plants. But like to me, that's the technology that's worth investing in.
We need cold fusion.
Yeah. Well, if we could, so if we got to a point where we could reclaim, reuse, repurpose the waste, then nuclear is incredible. But the same can be said about the renewables too, because our problem right now is limited by our battery technology. It's not that much the actual source of the energy. Like wind is endless, essentially limitless. Solar, I mean, the solar panels are pretty toxic once they're done, right? So but hydroelectric's incredible. That's like the equivalent of the power of, like, say for example, nuclear, right? But not every place has moving water. Right,
Sneed, you got to think about the actual real estate space, right? Like for the wind powered farms, right?
Bro, nobody freaking lives in Montana. I don't want to hear this crap about we don't have space. There's nobody there.
Let me finish my let me finish my piece real quick.
Hold on for a second.
If you think about these wind farms, though, the most efficient ones are like massive. Like these windmills are like legit, like multiple football fields in length, right? And it takes a lot of them to get the same equivalent amount of power as like a nuclear option, right? Like it takes a lot of wind farms. So wind farms have its location in certain places. Montana, you mentioned that, for example, sure, but like
California.
wind farms in Pittsburgh ain't happening. You get what I'm saying? Like it's not going to happen anywhere around Pennsylvania. Like I know for a fact that there's not going to be a farmer in his right mind that's going to let a bunch of wind farms go up.
They sure love wind in Texas.
Yeah, they love wind in California too.
Yeah.
Well, let me phrase it another way. They'd probably have to pay people to put the wind farms on their property, is what I'm saying. Like, if you go out on the rural PA, okay, which I like to call Pennsatucky, or the Alabama of the North, I can assure you damn well that those private owners are not putting wind farms on their property. Like, that's going to be a big problem, right? So what are you going to do? Have government domain come in and buy that property off them? Because that's the only way you're going to do it. Like, people
Where are we at with our uranium supply? Where are we at with that?
I have no clue.
Yeah, me neither. So I can't comment or speculate. But that's a limiting factor.
I do know that I recently bought like a cheap uranium stock though.
Oh,
Very nice.
Since you're mentioning it, I also bought a gold mining stock.
What'd you get in? What? Coal, bro. What? It
I
better
said
be
gold.
Chinese. Oh, gold. I was gonna say if you're investing in coal, it better be Chinese, dude, because they're really big on coal right now.
Dude, I want to pivot to something that was unexpected, but I want to get your guys' perspective, specifically Technoid, because I know you're a big fan of Chinese manufacturers. Do you think China is in a situation right now where their economy might collapse on itself, specifically the tech industry, with all the new regulations that have been being put in place by the CCP, as well as restrictions being put in place from like the U.S. government?
We were talking about the ZT, remember?
yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah, fun thing. I'm gonna disclaim for the fact I'm not the hugest fan of China made, but I'm just more fascinated by the technology, the implementation of more like differentiation. Not so much the manufacturers, but the device itself. But I will say, I feel like with all the restrictions and everything regulation going into it, I feel like I don't know if it's gonna collapse in on itself, but it's gonna have a harder time trying to break the ice, trying to get into the American market because we've talked about OnePlus, we talk about other things, but if we're talking about like companies just trying to bring their product to market in America, because a lot of people try to capitalize on the U.S. growth, it's not going to work. I don't think they're going to have a smooth sail, and probably it's going to cause them to lose less than probably gain, because at some point, the Asian American market and the other areas, Europe, they can only bring in so much. Look at Huawei. Here's a perfect example of Huawei. We're talking like...
Bro, they're coming back for 6G.
Bro, we don't even need to talk about 6G. We're not even there yet. Let's hold off. Pump the brakes. We'll get there when we cross that bridge. But look at it 3-4 years ago. They were on top of the world. They were dominating in Europe. They were at the worldwide market share. They were coming in at third. They were about to break second place. They overtook Apple at one point. Now you barely hear from them anymore ever since the restrictions were placed. And then look how fast they dipped. Right now, I think Samsung is the first worldwide, I think, when it comes to global. Top? I think Samsung is. Apple's literally right behind them. Apple's probably about to overtake them.
Who was Huawei? Did Huawei were they number one for a short minute?
Huawei was close. I don't think they actually took it.
No, they never broke it. They never did.
Okay.
I want to say Oppo though replaced Huawei in China as far as the Chinese market. But,
but I don't know, man.
Isaiah also brought up a point. I don't want to get super into politics, but
yeah,
with how heated things are with China threatening to invade Taiwan, like I feel like the writing is on the wall that like U.S. companies are going to actually start pulling out of China. And I think that's good because every U.S. company, every U.S. company that goes to China, I feel like gets screwed over really bad. Like, look at Elon Musk. Right? Like, they were courting him. They were treating him nice until they took all of his technology and the Chinese manufacturers started domestically making vehicles.
Yep.
And now they're giving him the tough arm, right? And, like, you know what? These big billionaires, I don't even feel bad for them because they should have learned, right? But I think the writing's on the wall. I think, like, relations with China are going to get real bad, real fast.
Listen, just get your Alibaba, get that out of there, man. I'll tell you guys right now, get out of the Alibaba.
and it's not even just pressure from international markets. I think the CCP is actually the ones destroying their own businesses. Like, look at what they did with the gaming sector.
But they've been saying that China has become more capitalistic, right? Like, people have become more. They're more motivated to make money.
Well, money is God in China. Like, that's their religion. Don't get it twisted.
Right.
But they are definitely not becoming more capitalistic. If anything, they're regressing and going back more into like Mao-esque era talk. Like if you read their like national
Yeah,
paper,
but you can't find personal success as a business entrepreneur if you're festering in that type of a setting. Like as a growth business, you wouldn't want to be there. You would want to leave.
Yeah, Xiaomi is number one in China, just for who doesn't.
Okay, that was kind of
Xiaomi.
the company I was thinking of. I knew it
Xiaomi.
was-
I think
Yeah.
but Xiaomi owns Oppo, right? Like
Yeah,
Oppo's-
Xiaomi, Oppo,
Yeah, they
and
do,
OnePlus
yeah.
are all under
Yep.
the same umbrella.
Yep.
All
Yeah.
three.
Yeah.
Don't buy OnePlus. Who's
Nah, yo,
Just
OnePlus is
Ben
done.
14,
It's a wrap.
cut
for
it
them.
out.
It's a wrap. for them. They're
Dude,
done.
you know what's sad is OnePlus when it first released was actually hype as hell. I remember OG CyanogenMod being on there.
Yeah.
Like that phone was really balling, but
I remember when they came to America, they made a big fuss. They were the only people that were so vocal about getting into America, and when they came here, they did nothing. They failed on their own momentum. It fell flat because of two things. They didn't have a good relationship with carriers at the time when they broke in. The only one that I think was at T-Mobile, but they didn't really even try with AT&T or even Sprint when it came out. And another problem with them was they did the same thing that most of these companies do. They don't advertise, they don't market, they don't, invest in the American market. They don't invest. They only invest in YouTubers to spread the message. Like look at the marketing team.
True.
Hold on, hold your response. I'm sorry. That was mean. I'm sorry. That was too mean. I apologize. But look
You're
at
a
the
mean dude, man.
the
Chill out.
aspect. If you're gonna come here, if you're gonna try to grab sales, if you're gonna try to grab Samsung consumers, because you're not grabbing Apple users, you're not gonna grab the Apple ecosystem. You're gonna try to target yourself towards Android users. Now, the best way to grab those attention is by, of course, marketing and advertising. Problem with OnePlus is that they relied too heavily on YouTubers to spread their message. Look at the common denominator of YouTubes that got OnePlus devices. MKBHD, Dave 2D. I'm going to say Austin Evans for a period of time. I don't know if Austin got Jonathan Morrison, everything Apple, Unbox Therapy, everything.
Bro, literally every single one of those creators
John
sucks.
Redinger.
Literally all of them suck.
I
Oh,
disagree. MKBHD I like a lot.
I
Yeah,
have
but
to be
you
honest
can
with
like
you, I
him,
don't
but I
watch
mean-
any of them anymore. I don't find myself watching them anymore. I haven't really had an urge. The only one I watch is Austin. Austin does something that most of them don't do. He talks about the stuff that nobody knows about. Like I like that about Austin.
Moose?
So I keep
What up, Moose?
Moose?
What up, man?
I haven't
But-
seen Moose in a while.
But as far as the marketing thing goes, I was actually going to say OnePlus actually did a fantastic job marketing to students specifically. And when they officially got supported by T-Mobile, I don't know if
Yeah,
that was
they-
OnePlus or what, but T-Mobile definitely pushed that OnePlus pretty freaking
They tried
hard.
with Verizon.
They tried.
first.
They tried though, but the thing is, when we're talking advertisement, we're talking commercials, marketeer, we're talking billboards, we're talking things like even the 30-second ad that people watch on probably the Hallmark channel, something because while most of us like me, you, Sneed, and Zero Cool, we all are techie. We know them by name, but I'm talking about the people that have no idea, they're oblivious, that are Android users, but they don't even know anything about it. So like they failed to grab those people. The people that watch TV at home, the people that watch the NBA Finals, the people that they were given an opportunity. Did you guys know? Fun fact: they were given an opportunity to invest as sponsor one of the NBA teams. I don't know if it was the Detroit Pistons or if it was the Orlando Magic. I don't know who it was. I don't think it was Orlando Magic. I think it might have been. They had an opportunity. Somebody find that for me. I saw the article and they turned it down. They turned down an opportunity to get free publicity on the NBA. They failed. They could have had. They literally were given a chance. Like an NBA team came to them and said, "Hey, we're willing to accept you guys because we're looking." Because I think Motorola got into that with one of the teams. I think it was Brooklyn. They got in with Brooklyn.
They did,
So you
yeah.
look at OnePlus. They were given an opportunity to go in, and they just said, "Nah, we good." They thought they were on top. So they shot themselves dead in the foot, and then the company took a huge dive down when the former CEO left and new guy comes in. But the former CEO even showed he was on his way out. He didn't care about surprises. He didn't care about
Bro, but if
reveal.
you're talking
He
about
didn't care.
marketing, Apple does it the best. Because here's
Yeah.
what they do: they get some fancy cinematography. There's some random two people in a park. It's snowing. Snowflakes are coming down. And you meet somebody and you start making out. They literally give you the illusion that you're going to go into some park. It's going to be snowing flurries. It's going to be this beautiful ambiance. and you're gonna randomly start making out with some hot chick.
That's my
You know?
illusion every night. Every night.
Oh, zero cool.
I mean, like the OnePlus thing. If they could just, I don't think they market well. You're right, Sneed. But if they can, maybe they could sell the phones better if they reduce their pricing down to like what Motorola does. You know. I don't
Oh, and then
know.
the music. What about the music in the background? It's always something weird. It's like some weird sounds are going off, bro. Like, doot, 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 doot. You know,
Yeah,
there's some
but-
weird thing going on.
You go ahead.
You know what I like? You know what I hope for as far as the smartphone market goes?
A BlackBerry.
Not me personally, but what I do hope for is India actually has a pretty good tech space going on in India. There's a pretty much a Silicon Valley equivalent that's been growing in India, and there are smartphone manufacturers out in India that are relatively making budget phones that are popular in India.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that one of them takes off, becomes real successful, so they can have the budget for R&D and can start actually being a global player. Because I'd be really interested to see some of the creative ideas that come about because of India's like culture and how they use their phones differently from us. And maybe they could become a closer ally with the U.S. and actually break into our market.
Yes.
I'll start looking
absolutely.
at India when they learn how to use paper plates. Because Jesus Christ, I saw the last time they were serving some food. It was literally a wrinkled up, ink covered. Yeah, I know they're very poor. I'm not gonna beat them up on that.
No, we
big
want OEMs, Indian OEMs, to be profitable and have big business. I would love for the Indian OEMs to take on China.
Ooh,
No doubt. I would love for that.
that
to
would be a
happen.
good.
That would
I
be
can see
good,
that.
great competition. I would love to see that.
Because look at the what is it? The population of India and the population of China. That's like a real that's a huge.
Exactly.
They're 40% of the world population. Those two countries.
Yeah.
We're at what? We're approaching 7.8 billion. China's 1.8.
It needs to
India's
happen.
1.5 or something like that.
No,
It's pretty
India's
crazy.
bigger than China. I'm like 99% sure.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that. I'll
I'm
bet
gonna look
that.
it up right now. Yeah, India's population is about 1.4 billion, and China's
China's
population.
1.8, dude.
No, they were 1.3 last night. Or no, they're 1.4 as well.
Oh, so they're tied neck to neck.
Dude, China is literally just barely beating them by 11 million.
Wow.
I think they're lying, dude. I think they're lying. I think China's more than that.
Nah,
Probably.
dude. This is based off 2021.
You're just
Somebody's
counting the
lying.
people that had the vaccine, man.
Hey, let me do a couple of shout outs real quick. We got a couple of super chats. So, Ethan, thank you for your super chat, man. Appreciate you. OnePlus is hitting the ground sprinting this year. They're up 400% year over year. So I'm assuming he's speaking to the stock. And then we also have a super chat from Green. Thanks again, Green. Using the 8T on T-Mobile and do my stress test of 8K video. Dennis still interested on going on the show if we work something out. So it looks like maybe you've interacted with Green before on this topic, Dennis?
Yeah, we had him on for a short bit. He was telling us about how he was able to bang out his massive data usage with me and Stetson. And yeah, no, we'll definitely pop you on for a short seg. I'd be totally down. I just gotta talk to Stetson. He's been really busy behind the scenes working on some really great content for you guys with his really in-depth comparison charts and stuff like that. So I know that's been a big priority for him since new Apple iPhones came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yo, can we talk about them iPhones? I mean, I don't know if we got
let's do
time,
that.
bro.
Yeah,
Can we
of
talk
course.
about that?
1 second. Pete, don't super chat. You do enough for this channel, bro. Don't even think about super chats. Thank you for all that you do, man.
What up, Pete?
Techno, go ahead, man. Run it.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This is like, okay. Let me disclaim real quick. The event was boring. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
Who watches these things? Are you guys kidding me? Do people really
was
watch
boring.
this?
I watch it because when
I
you're stuck in a
swear.
2-hour seminar and your professor's ranting about the greatness of some
Bro,
business
I
dude
would
that nobody's gonna
rather-
care about.
I would rather pull off hangnails off of my fingers than to watch an Apple keynote. You people are crazy.
Hey, listen,
Bro, I watched
say
the
what you-
recap that The Verge does.
Hey,
bro.
do you dress in
Oh,
all
The
black?
Verge. Of course, The Verge. Everybody goes to The Verge. The most reliable, the most unbiased, tech news field out there. Yeah, The Verge. I go to The Verge.
I'd rather watch memes of Salt Bay, bro. Just doing the salt.
Nah, but I watched it because honestly, the professor, he ended class early, so I said, all right, let me check it out. It was boring. But I will say, when I saw that iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max, I gotta say, Apple got them. When I say them, I say Google with software and hardware integration with camera. that cinematic mode, and I'm probably gonna sound like an Apple fanboy right now, and you know what? I'm proud of that. I mean, listen, I do love Android. Sneed, you don't need me to vouch. You know, I've already, you've already know me.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, everything that Google's been trying to do with software and hardware integration with that camera, the cinematic mode, AI technology, Apple basically came out and said, you know what? We're gonna do something that even Google didn't even try. That, like, I was impressed at how closely that integration is with their software. Now, I don't know if they're going to bring it over to the 12 Pro Max. I think they should, because the Pro Max...
Bro, nothing Apple does is impressive. Stop
You know they have to take pictures of Tim Cook just to get the camera off for feet to pass. You know
Not
that?
Tim Cook, Tim Apple. But go ahead.
Tim Apple.
Tim
Oh, my
Apple. There you
bad.
go.
Tim Apple.
Tim Apple. But nah, man, like, I'll be honest. And I know you guys aren't big iPhone fans. I know a lot of everybody's not a big iPhone fan. I mean, I'm not switching. I'm not upgrading. No, I got my Pro. Okay, so Dennis is good. We good there. I'm sticking with this phone.
Bro,
But
the only
my
person who doesn't have an iPhone is Zero Cool. Everybody else has at least one.
Yeah.
I
I
literally
have no
2.
phones.
Oh, you poor BS.
Listen, I have 2 iPhones, and I'm gonna give a hot take that I know is gonna make you mad, Technoid.
Yeah, it's okay.
But the iPhone 13 release was trash.
yeah.
Apple was shady as fuck with those graphs. And if we're talking about performance need, I know you've heard otherwise, but from what I was able to figure out based off of, so what I did was when they showed the graph for the iPad, they compared it to the previous iPad's performance.
Yeah, they can't do that. That was stupid. Like, they're comparing, like, a lemon with a lime.
Well,
And the
no,
difference
I'm not
between
talking
the
about
two-
the iPhone comparison.
No, the iPad. You're talking about the iPad, aren't you?
Right. Yes. So
Yeah,
I used that as my comparison to kind of get a percentage to figure out what the performance increase was over the A13, so I could figure out what it was, because the
Thanks,
A13 was
Cody.
a couple
Good
years
night.
back.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as CPU performance gains goes, CPU performance gains are almost almost maybe 5%. The main improvement was GPU performance, which was meaningful.
No. Here it is. Let's compare this Tim Apple over here to
Here's
this
the
Tim
voice.
Apple over here.
I
That's all it is.
Zero
That's
cool.
how they
Cool.
that's
You
what
need
they do.
you need to grab a black mask with some pointy ears and play yourself Batman. Man. This man over here trying to do the biggest Batman.
That's what they do. It's like, oh, we got the iPhone 14. Let's take another picture of Mr.
No, but
Tim
I
Apple
will
and see
say,
how it
though,
looks.
Like, I'm gonna just say this. Like, I honestly agree with you. I mean, I was only impressed with the camera technology. That was it. I could care less about the 12 and the 12 mini. The Pro Max and the Pro for me was just the camera software, hardware integration. I'm sure it's unrealistic for most people. Probably won't do that, but there are some people that really be, they would be pushing their phones to the limit. So that was kind of cool. But I thought, I mean, the whole event itself, like, I was in it for like 5 minutes, and I'm like already falling asleep. I felt like Freddy Krueger had more chances of getting me in my nightmares than me staying awake for this event. Hell, a matter of fact, I would argue, bro. I'll be like, Freddy Krueger be standing behind me, and I'm watching this event, and I'm just sitting there going, he probably just standing behind me waiting for me to fall asleep. I'm just like, hold on, just let me finish this one thing real quick. And he fall asleep waiting for me to fall asleep. That's how boring this event was.
No
Reverse
iPhone's
psychology,
here.
man. Yeah,
Listen,
reverse psychology.
I want to be clear. I try really hard. I actually try really hard to like iPhone, because in all sincerity, I love the fact that it supports eSIM, and it's a very consistent experience.
They
I
do the
respect
sim
that.
is the best, right?
Yeah,
I gotta switch
respect
over.
that. I respect that about Apple. I respect the band support. There's a lot of things I respect about this iPhone. Like, it's a beautiful piece of hardware. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, feel like iOS gets in the way. They have this great hardware, but iOS is such a terrible experience for me as a user. Like, it's Apple's approach is basically like, look, here's the experience that we want you to have. You either like it or you don't. And sorry, Apple, but I don't like having a grid of icons that's cluttered. I'm glad you added a folder that lets me remove stuff, but it's still cluttered as shit. I don't like that my applications are capped in this 3x3 block array.
I'm with
I
you
don't
on that
like
one.
that there's no dual, like, I have this massive screen, but there's no features to take advantage of this big ass screen.
Like, I know, yeah. I'm gonna just say this. Like, I know that, like, there are some people that like iOS because it's simple to use, but my God, like, they need to refresh the damn thing. It has been since iOS 7, and the biggest refresh they did was, we're gonna add widgets. Like, that made my generation, and I'm ashamed to say my generation. My generation literally thinks that adding widgets is something Apple innovated in. I'm like, y'all never used Android in your life.
Your generation literally ties their iPhone experience to 2 apps.
Yep.
iMessage and FaceTime.
iMessage and FaceTime.
Not even Snapchat and TikTok.
Right.
Snapchat,
Not even.
Instagram, maybe even a position. I would even say
Instagram.
I would even argue, like, Apple at the event, they said that like the iOS makes the phone or something. It said something along the lines where iOS is the driver that pushes the iPhone forward. I'm like, no, that's the biggest obstacle in the iPhone's way is iOS. How can you call it the biggest thing that makes the iPhone boundless when that's the boundary right there? The phone is probably capable of doing so much more, but Apple limits it. And they say they're giving more freedom. Nah, they be restricting more and more.
Well, they have been getting more. I will say they have been getting more freedom because they do let you actually change, like, say, your default email client, which they didn't let you do forever. But look, I'll just say this: my life would actually be a lot better if I was an iPhone user. Because I kid you not, there are people out there where if you send them the green text bubble, they will not reply to you.
Oh yeah,
bro. Do you know what I think of? You know what I think of when I think of iMessage, FaceTime, TikTok, Instagram? You know what comes to my mind?
What's that?
Kiki. Do you love me? Are you riding? Like, I think of like stupid dances and like people standing in front of their phones.
I'm gonna just say this. The only thing that got me interested in the event was the iPad Mini because I was looking to get my mom a new iPad anyway. She has one that's like 5 years old. So when the new Mini got refreshed, and I love how they hid the chip. Notice they didn't say anything about the A15. They were waiting for the iPhone. But I thought the Mini was kind of cute. I don't know. I let
the
that
Mini
one slide.
The Mini was the best thing about that event, and that budget iPad for students.
Yeah, that's a home run for Apple. Right
Sneed's
there.
making a face. Do you disagree about what I'm?
I think
he disagrees with both of us.
The iPhone Mini is the highlight of the event.
iPad.
Oh, iPad Mini. Yes, I agree.
Oh boy, I swear we're gonna need hearing aids now, Sneed.
Man, if Tim Apple don't drop his if Tim Apple don't drop his pants, ain't nothing gonna change.
Hey, but I wanted to address this for Rick real quick. Rick, if Verizon sucks, you need to go to T-Mobile or AT&T.
Okay.
Dude, I'm on the topic of Verizon, Sneed. You know how I feel, and the audience knows how I feel about Verizon. But I am excited.
You need to say it right. It is the Verizine. All right,
the Verizine.
It's French.
I could tell the on.
I gotta say.
Anybody talking Italian here? Is it Italian?
I gotta say real quick though, I'm hype as fuck to try out Carlos's Verizon access whenever that gets finalized.
Oh yeah.
Especially based off what you told me, Sneed, when you looked at Cell Mapper in my market. Mm-hmm. I cannot wait to try that out and see what that actually looks like. So
in Dennis's area of Pittsburgh, Verizon has a very uniform tower grid. It's really evenly distributed. It's like every mile and a half there's a tower site, right? So there's a lot of balance. It's nice, as opposed to like his T-Mobile coverage, which has bad spots because there's a cluster of sites which serves an area really well, and then it's like his is neglected. Right, and AT&T is pretty good too, but even they could use a little bit of support, So but Verizon has congestion issues in his market, so it's like he doesn't really enjoy it. So what would he need? He would need a high priority plan and some C-band, and let it rip.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see what it looks like because when I tested Verizon out, I tested it using US Mobile, which, on a side note, by the way. Despite all the plan changes, I still think they're a great company to pick because their customer support is absolutely phenomenal. Which you made a comment, by the way, earlier, Techno. You see you get what you pay for. I would actually argue that these MVNOs that are significantly cheaper do things better in certain aspects than the postpaid carriers do by a long shot when it comes to customer service specifically. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I tested out Verizon's network, which obviously was deprioritized, and speeds were rough. Speeds were real rough. But I'm curious to see what the priority access will look like because I know Los will, at the very least, have postpaid priority and possibly business grade priority, which I know would probably make a pretty big difference. Which, Sneed, are you able to share what your testing has been so far or no?
Well, I've used, I don't know, probably a few hundred gigs of data so far, and the speeds are the same. So
between your postpaid line and your Los line?
I haven't been speed testing it. I've just been taxing it. So it's been running a TV. It's been doing my FIFA online gaming. It's been doing the live streams. So the way I test is a little bit different. When I test stuff personally, I don't really focus too much on speed tests. I won't speed test unless some weird behavior happens. Because for me, it's really, what can I throw at it? So the other day I was stressing it. I did 2 4K TVs, I did 2 smartphones, and I ran them all on 4K videos, and one of the videos buffered.
Yeah.
So that told me, I was like, okay, I must be around 100 megs as a cap That's all it could handle, right? Was 4 screens at 4K resolution. So I learned something about the connection at my house for that service. So now when I can tell somebody, hey, I was using this service, here's the speeds I was getting. I was running 4 TVs and one of them started to buffer on 4K. Now, if I kicked one of them down to 1080p, it stopped. There was no buffering at all. So literally, I must have been on the fringe of just doing more than it can handle. But what do you think, bro? 4K streams simultaneous?
Dude, that's plenty. I mean, real talk. Let's be real here. Most people aren't going to be doing 4 simultaneous 4K streams at a time, right?
I had to push it though. I had to push it so then I could say I successfully did this. So it was without buffer. I was doing 3 4K streams and a 1080p stream, and there was no buffer.
Right, and I guarantee if you were doing 1080p, you could probably double that to 8 streams at a time, right? Like it probably wouldn't sweat.
Possible.
But that's good stuff. I'm really excited about it. I'm more excited than I thought I would be when Los first told me, because I was like, yeah, AT&T, I'm cool in. But then you told me about Verizon with the cell map or something. I really want to try it.
I definitely want to try out Los Mobile. I've been hearing a lot of good things from everybody.
Dude, Carlos knows I'm not going to blow smoke up his ass when I say stuff, but Los Mobile is a fantastic product. Like, there's a caveat to what I'm about to say. Los Mobile is a fantastic option if you are a single line user, or if you're looking for a really good hotspot plan. That is my caveat. Because Los Mobile's like, I want to say $65 for a single unlimited phone line, and it's a true unlimited line on AT&T. Like, it's like legit unlimited hotspot, unlimited postpaid data, and it really is unlimited. Like, I tested it out; it was great.
I can't wait to try it out.
And the reason why I said for single line is because, as far as I'm aware, and Carlos, if you're here and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe there's multi-product discount. Which, if you're getting multi-line discount, that's when going with normal AT&T Unlimited Elite becomes the better priced out option. And if you don't need the unlimited hotspot, then it works out well because you're getting the unlimited data and the access is good enough.
But it is the pinnacle of access.
Yes,
I've tested every form of AT&T, pretty much every form of Verizon. I've got a 05 unlimited. I've got the 17 unlimited. I've had the Get More, whatever it is, the Do More. I don't know, whatever the highest one is on the new plans. Like, I've tried everything. The most capacitive and enjoyable experience is by far Los Mobile.
And taxes and fees. Taxes and fees are included, which is beautiful. Yeah, Los has come a long way with Los Mobile in a good way.
I just don't get why people are trying to activate old crappy ZTE hotspots. Like, I don't understand this, and people are trying to connect like Chinese OEM phones that don't even have band 14 or bands, what is the other one? Band 30. Like, they don't have. Like, what are you trying to do? Like, you really just want to get band 2 and band 66? Like, what's that going to do for you? You're going to get 15 megabits per second. You're going to say this is slow. Why are you trying to connect garbage hardware? And like, Los does a nice job of explaining, look, you're going to want to use this. You're going to want to try this. These are the devices I recommend. But people are just trying to be cheap. But, like, you're already getting a good deal on the line. Use good hardware. I really enjoy the service.
My hopes is that Los, like, I get what Los is selling as kind of a niche product, but my hopes is that he's able to get a big enough consumer pull that he's able to drive real profits for himself because he deserves to be rewarded. And then I hope that he's able to continue to hire and employ staff so that way he can bolster and speed up the activation process. Because I know Los right now has been taking on or Carlos has been taking on a lot of the responsibilities, and I'm sure that's probably
I heard about that.
Stressful on him.
Man, one man running the whole show, it's absolutely rough. And I could speak because as a Taekwondo master, there are times when the grandmaster. By the way, I'm a 3rd degree black belt. It's rough running the dojo solo because when the grandmaster is sick or can't make it, he gives me the key and he says, can you run the whole thing for a day? And I'm only 21, so running an entire operation by myself, doing the books, running the classes, going back and forth, it's a lot of stress, especially customer care with the parents. You got to be a multitasker. So I get, so it's always good to have a standby. That's why when I go solo, I mean, sometimes I do good, but I always encourage like instructors. Like we have backup instructors. I'm like, hey, come on in for a day. We'll pay you for the day, and yeah, it's usually better to have more hands on standby.
Hey, Peter, that'd be dope, man. I'm sure Carlos would appreciate.
Yeah, I wonder if Los was in here. I thought he was a few minutes ago.
I know I saw him
Yeah,
earlier.
he was.
But...
He's literally in the middle of nowhere. He's on a 3G connection right now.
Yo, Sneed, I got a question for you.
Yeah, man.
So, basing off everything we talked about tonight, with 5G and, fiber and, of course, trash and Apple. I know we don't talk a lot of hardware on your end. I know we don't definitely talk a lot. I got to ask, though. We're nearing the end of 2021. We're going into 2022 very soon.
I need a BlackBerry, bro.
Okay, hold the thought of BlackBerry. Can you go a minute? If you want a BlackBerry, they sell them in grocery stores for 99 cents an ounce. So you can get your BlackBerries there. But anyway, before I'm not trying to make an early prediction. I'm not trying to, not trying to do anything. All I'm trying to do is, and sorry if I just look sorry, I thought I hit something wrong. My question to you is, now that we're ending the year, we're in September, October, November, we got 3 months. What would you like to see happen at the end of this year in terms of 5G for carrier marketing, technology expansion? What would you like to see for the closeout and then going into the next year?
I want to see the Google phone do well. I want to see the sales do well. I want people to actually use the phone, not tell me how ugly it is, not tell me how it's not as good as an iPhone. Like I don't want to hear any of that BS. I kind of actually, I want to buy an iPad mini, and I want to use that as a production tool. So I want to start doing my live streams with it. I want to start integrating more tech into my life like that. That'll help me become like a more effective content creator. So I like my desktop setup. I'll definitely keep it, but I want to also live stream like outdoors, because like, I mean, our deck is awesome. Mm-hmm. So I got this really nice patio, and we've got a natural gas bonfire outside. We've got the fire pit.
Yeah.
And I love being outside when it's a little colder, and stuff like. So like, I want to start doing stuff like that. I can't take my desktop outside, and I hate laptops, but I'm willing to try like an iPad mini to try to integrate production that way. Device wise, oh, go ahead, Dennis.
I just wanted to say real quick, that's actually a bad idea, Sneed. I would actually recommend you just get like a MacBook. Real talk.
Yeah,
Bro,
Sneed,
MacBooks are trash.
No, I actually
they
disagree. I actually disagree. Believe it or not, I have a MacBook from 2015, and that thing still works like a champ.
Bro, I've replaced my wife's battery on her MacBook like 3 times.
Yeah, I mean, okay, replacing, but that's an easy fix, right? Like that's an easy.
It is an easy fix, but it overheats a lot.
Okay, overheating, you reapply some thermal paste, bada bing, bada boom. It's
Bro, I've never had to do that for any other machine.
Oh, yeah, that's not true. You're supposed to. You're supposed. Listen. I'll tell you straight up. I do every couple years for my gaming PC. I go through a ritual of maintenance where I will clean off the thermal compound and reapply a fresh compound. I don't have to do it, but I do it anyway. And with my graphics card, if I end up having it for like 4 years, I will take apart the graphics card, replace the thermal pad.
He takes apart the fan and everything.
And Sneed, I'll say this.
You laugh, but my parts have never died.
I believe you do. I believe you, man. That's good. That's good maintenance. That's good.
A man with a green beanie, with a beard and glasses is talking truth. So I believe it. I believe this man. But I would say this too, Sneed. They have improved the overheating issue. They've gotten it more efficient with the new M series chips. The Apple M series. Listen,
you guys be dogging. Hold on, bro. You guys be dogging Charlie Ergen. I believe it when I see it. And then here we are. They fixed the MacBook. No, I don't trust it.
I haven't heard any overheating issues with the M1.
Which one do you have? Which model do you have?
For me, I'm looking to upgrade. I have the mid 2017 model, but that one, yes, absolutely 100%. Like the fans are going off right now. So those models overheat, but my girlfriend just got.
Bro, my wife doesn't even have fans in hers. It just overheats for no reason.
Well,
there's no ventilation.
My girlfriend just got the new M1 MacBook Air. She just got it. She came from the older model, and I can tell you, she's on Zoom call. She's on FaceTime. She's using up everything that would cause this thing to start heating up. I was touching that laptop for every time she gave it to me to pass over. That thing is not even as close to what my thing gets, especially if I'm on a Zoom call with the professor. So I would argue, Sneed. I know you like tablets. I know you like a way of working, but I would reconsider at least going at the bare minimum as an experiment. Get the bare minimum.
How much is a MacBook Pro?
You could buy in at what, Pro or desktop. What are you looking to go?
No, he wants the laptop. And
you want a laptop? Well, MacBook Air runs at $899 and MacBook Pro is $1199.
I'm not buying an Air. That is junk.
All right, so let's take the Air out of the question. So then you've got the Pro. That's $1199, standard model. If you go with a desktop, you could probably get away with a Mac Mini.
Bruh, I'm telling you, Sneed, with the M1 chip this year, man, Mac is like legit on point. And I will also just say, like, Mac OS is surprisingly more robust than I ever would imagine Apple would be able to come up with.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be 100% clear here. I prefer Windows. 100%.
Oh yeah, even Linux.
I got a 2005 ThinkPad that still outruns all of you. So,
but I'm just saying, Mac is good, man, and you could get the MacBook Air at $1,000, and you'll be a happy-go-lucky kind of guy.
Yeah, you can find a resale. And on Sneed, iMovie, I'm telling you, man, on a Mac, it is so much better than iMovie on iPad. There is so much more customization. There's so much more to do, especially with iMovie on a Mac OS.
Plus, you actually have USB-C ports that actually have full throughput that you can actually utilize.
Right.
I mean,
I'm waiting for the new MacBook Pro that they're supposed to debut in October with the M1X. Because if they debut that and they add a few ports, whatever, I'm getting rid of my 2017 one. I'm trading it in or selling it, whatever.
But for what Sneed needs, this MacBook is going to be so much superior to the MacBook, to the iPad Mini, dude. Like,
yeah,
you're not going to be able to connect like good audio, for example, to that MacBook Mini.
It's not
right?
a Thunderbolt port. The
yeah,
Mini doesn't have a Thunderbolt port.
Laptops are always more powerful than an iPad.
Yeah.
You have more processing power. You have more air to, used to be more air to run the airflow and have the components.
Not anymore. It's all sealed up into one piece.
Right.
That's why I was going to take
be.
the show outside, man, so it doesn't overheat.
I remember at one point there were people that actually put their MacBooks in a freezer just to cool it down.
So blasphemous, man.
But honestly, those need definitely consider going into the new year. Definitely consider the MacBook Pro. Wait till they update it.
I was 1 minute away from going full-blown Samsung and DeX and all of that. Like, I was literally going to do the experiment. I was going to run my Note 10 as a computer with the monitor. I was going to just do it to see if it works.
Oh, God.
And, like, I obviously I have my desktop. I have a Windows machine. I have an i7 processor. It's like 32 gigs of RAM. Like, it does everything and anything I could ever need. I have 2 monitors. I'm super productive, going between the monitors because I grade papers and then I put in grades instantaneous on the 2 screens. So, like, everything like that I got going on I like. But I'm thinking about giving my brother some gear because he needs some equipment. Like, he needs to improve what he's got going on. And if I can find a really good laptop to save some of the space and stuff but I still want to do dual monitors.
Dude, if you're trying to do dual monitors and you want a laptop, Dell laptops are the way to go. They make a for the love of God, I can't remember what it's called, but basically on some Dell laptops, they have like this port on the bottom that you can connect, and it lets you basically hook up different like DisplayPort cables and all kinds of other stuff like that. And I remember when I worked for as a technician for a company, I almost blurted out. I actually helped install that for some people's work from home offices, and that'd be an effective way to do things. So basically, you slap your laptop down, you're doing your desktop stuff, and then when you need to go on the go, you just pick your laptop up and keep rocking and rolling. Like, that would be what you want to do if that's what you're trying to do. But honestly, man, you're better off sticking to a desktop, man. The power constraints on laptops, they're real. Like, your performance on your desktop is going to be far superior. Cooling is going to be far superior on a desktop.
Oh, yeah.
The ability to maintain, replace, and repair on a desktop is infinitely easier.
Yep.
And if you're talking about content creation, man, I don't know how much editing you do as far as post-processing, but, like, having a really good graphics card is important, and that's all on desktop,
Yeah, man.
Yep. Absolutely.
I'll even say one real quick. My MacBook Pro 2017 model, it's a 15-inch, and it's working beautifully. I've had no problems with it. Especially now that I've gotten a lot better with my show and I've learned to edit a lot better and do different techniques. Those little tips and tricks, especially when you're exporting in 4K, it heats up a lot, but it renders faster than I would have thought. Especially a raw file at 4 GB. Sending it to the MacBook, then of course exporting it and then compressing it. It's amazing what it can do. So I would, like I said, I think me and Dennis have made the case. Give it a chance, at least at the bare minimum. Just try. Like, I think even Apple offers like a month trial, and if you don't like it, you just send it right back. So try it out, give it a trial, and see where you're at. And if you don't like it, then of course you can always stick with the desktop. I do like Windows. I do think, I grew up all my life as a Windows user, but as a content creator, Apple has been my go-to, especially for everything that I've done in my show. Like, if you guys watch my show, I'm doing split screen effects where I have two characters in one. I do transitions differently. I have like a background. I use a green screen, and next year's show, we're stepping it up. I'm just kind of spoiling what I'm going to do, but we're taking.
Where's your Joe Biden character?
I'm not about to get that whole cancel culture on my tail, so I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it techie. But it's a lot of editing. It's a lot of stuff, Sneed. So I really do think you should consider at the bare minimum of trying it out for a month or whatever trial period they have, and then if you don't like it, you can just send it back.
Yo, Sneed, can we sneak Los on? Because he's at a cabin with 2 GB internet apparently. Right
I really
now.
want to see that. I actually want to see that.
Can we sneak him on real quick?
Watch Sneed would be coming out with the goatee and everything with a mohawk, and he'd just be chilling.
Also, Technoid, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot your OG question. It was about what we're looking forward to next year. Is that right?
Yeah, closing out to the year into next year.
Scary telecom story.
Specifically with hardware, though, right?
Anything, 5G, cellular, hardware, whatever.
So for me, I'm more excited for the Pixel 6 than I thought I was, and I'm hoping it's well because I'm kind of over Samsung at this point. Like, I really was not impressed this year with the Samsung S series, and I don't give a damn about foldable phones. Yeah. I haven't had a Google-based phone since the Nexus 6P, and I feel like if performance is on point for the new Pixel coming out, I'm very, 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 very tempted to go back to stock vanilla Android. Because all the things that kept me in the Samsung ecosystem are sort of gone, like with newer Samsung phones. Like, for example, and I know you're going to laugh, one of the features I used to use a lot was Samsung Pay, specifically because it supported MagStrip, right? But they removed the MagStrip support out of the newest lineup of S series, right? So that's a feature that's gone. So any NFC-based payment method is where it's at, which Google does. Fast charging, Samsung hasn't improved fast charging that much compared to other.
I covered on my story. I didn't even know they removed the 45-watt super fast charging. They took that away, I heard, and now they're bringing it back for the 22 Ultra. But I'm like, why did they remove it in the first place?
Right. So fast charging, whatever. Like photography, I would say Google has the edge for still shots, and for video, Android across the board doesn't typically do a great job with video. Although with the new Tensor Core, based off what's being told in the Pixel, it's supposed to be phenomenal. And when it comes to actual software support, Samsung's been slipping. Like, Google's on point with rolling out those updates. And when they say there's a feature, they actually deploy the feature and don't just say, nah, screw the US.
Exactly. Can we all agree here? I think we can all agree we're excited for the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro. I think me, you, Sneed, and Zero. I think pretty much the entire internet is excited for this phone. And, as somebody who doesn't review phones, I tried it once, hated it, never did it again. I'm more of an audio guy, so that's my area now. But
I want somebody.
You know what, dude? I'm gonna buy you some sweet blackberries that are so nice and big and voluptuous. You're gonna be crying for them more and more.
No, we gotta fight, bro. That's all it is.
Come on now. 3-5 rounds. What are we gonna do? 5-minute each intervals, or what are you gonna do?
I'm old, bro. We can only do 3-minute rounds.
Oh, come on now.
Yo, hometown. I know Sneed will agree with me. Stick away from the Galaxy S21.
Yes, stick away from that.
I have a Galaxy S20 Plus. This is the best phone, or not the best phone, but this is the most recent phone that Samsung made that was good.
Yeah.
And you have
I loved my S20 Plus. I loved it.
So
I love the Note 10 Plus.
Just a tip for the Dish Network folks out there: the only phone that network is actually going to support and support well is the S21.
Yeah,
they base the whole network on it. So other phones that may work on it are like shit.
Wait, what do you mean? Why?
Why? It's just because of the RF parameterization and the baseband stuff is specifically written for the S21 on up. They didn't really take a look at any other phone and say, oh, we need this to work well or this or that. They just based everything off the S21 and future versions of that. So
it'll work well.
Can I
Correct,
just say
yeah.
something real quick? I gotta actually say something about the Pixel phone for a sec. I really hope that this phone delivers, and I think it's going to. It's got a lot of potential. But I'm just being honest, I'm saying right now, I'm gonna hate the way the tech world's gonna react when they get this phone. First 2 days, they're gonna bloat about it, they're gonna love it, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that, they're gonna talk about how it's different, it's great, and then literally the next day they're going to say, oh, why I switched back to iPhone, or why they're gonna try not to validate this phone. And I'm gonna be honest, I hate that about tech people, especially the media. The tech media.
The bigger problem is simple. They don't pay for it.
Yeah.
They don't want to buy the Pixel phones. They just want to get a free one, and they just want to talk smack about it or celebrate it, whichever
That's
one
why,
they decide.
That's why I respect more people that buy their products than when they get sent it for free. And there's not a knock on anybody. I'm just saying.
Listen, Google sent me Pixels, right?
Mm-hmm.
They sent me the 4A. They sent me the 5.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I would have bought those anyways.
Yeah, I believe you.
And you know why I can guarantee you I would have bought them anyways? Because I owned every phone before that.
Yeah.
I owned every Google phone even before they were Google phones. When they were Nexus devices, I was buying them.
Mm-hmm.
I had the Nexus 6 Shamu. I had the Huawei 6P. I had the 5X from LG. I had the 5. I had all of them predating the 4. I think I started with the 3. It was made by a Samsung, I think, was the OEM. So I was, for years, buying these devices. And
yeah,
I bought the OG Pixel when it came out. I bought it on release day. I bought the 2XL. I bought the 3XL. The only one I didn't buy, because I had the 3XL and then I got the 4A, was the 4XL.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I was kind of sandwiched in between. So I ended up buying it secondhand later, so I didn't get it on release day.
Mm-hmm.
I did want the 5A. They actually didn't send it, but if they send me the 6, I'll be excited about that. I'll still buy the 6 Pro.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I would buy it. Honestly, there are a lot of people that think I won't buy another phone. I'm very tempted to buy the 6 Pro, and I'll do it out of my own, pocket. And I got no problem with it.
Carlos dogged the 5, bro. It's a good phone.
Every phone I've owned personally. I bought out of my own pocket. I haven't had anybody send a phone yet, but I wanted to ask Zero Cool a question because I feel like we haven't let you chime in a lot.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm just listening, man. What's up?
So you're basically like a networking expert, right? You worked for T-Mobile engineering. It sounded like at one point.
Yep.
My question for you is, which network do you feel is the best for iPhone users, and which network do you feel is best for Android users, specifically Samsung users?
For the iPhone, I would say AT&T, and for the Android users, Verizon. It's simple.
Okay. Now, I'm surprised that T-Mobile didn't actually come up on this because I know that T-Mobile is a lot more forgiving when it comes to support of features on Samsung phones.
You just set the whole phone. Now for feature wise, so Verizon, AT&T actually restricts your phone the most as far as like for things like HD voice and VoLTE stuff like they used to, right? It's really hard to get the features in like the Wi-Fi calling crap like that. But T-Mobile is actually the most less restrictive, right? But it's from a phone experience. In my opinion, AT&T is always the best to support the actual iPhone experience, and then Verizon, any Android, if you take millimeter wave out of the equation, your most rocking experience on the iPhone is AT&T. Period. So it's more you have a way more capacitive network, right? The reason why I say the Android phones on Verizon is because that's what they started off with, right? If you guys remember the Motorola series, the Droid series, right? Those are optimized for Verizon. It's just that's just what they're used to.
Right now, Caleb, I respectfully disagree because the Android situation is messed up right now.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah.
The most user-friendly phone is the iPhone for a few reasons. The eSIM, physical SIM combinations, that's the first thing. The
Right.
second thing is the antenna system is better on the iPhone, especially millimeter wave. So, in my opinion, the best experience on an iPhone is, especially if you're in a market with Verizon millimeter wave, is Verizon.
I'm just talking about overall. I'm talking about the whole ecosystem. You're just comparing like just one. Like I'm saying like for people that have like the iPhone 8, the iPhone 10, I think you're just comparing just like one phone. I'm talking about the whole ecosystem.
And I will just say I agree with the sentiment that iPhone is best on AT&T, seeing as AT&T was the one to first have iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
but it's some of that's a little overblown. So like I've used them all. And what I've seen with Verizon is when I like being able to turn 5G on and off so easily with an iPhone, and then the way I've seen the CBRS get picked up and used by the iPhone, like I have a different perspective because I've literally watched and tested every frequency on this phone.
Yeah, it's a use case. For example, like it's specific to the point. Like, what's your you know take like the root metrics test, for example. We have somebody that does texting a lot, right? Or you have somebody that makes phone calls a lot. That's going to vary versus your iPhone versus an Android, right? It's just because you have the higher uplink on your transmit for iPhone, right? So it just depends on what you're really doing with it. Yeah, I do agree. iPhones have come a heck of a long way that you could do more eSIM and stuff, and the carrier aggregation stuff like that's great. They come a long way, but like but back when iPhone first started, it was definitely AT&T. Personally, when I think now, if you give me an iPhone now, I would say Verizon. Okay.
So check out the irony of this.
I would say Verizon.
So check out the irony of this. Root Metrics only speed tests the model year Galaxies.
Right.
When they do all their network testing nationwide in all these markets.
Yeah.
AT&T is killing those Root Metrics reports.
Right.
They are killing it. So I find it ironic that they're using Galaxies in these Root Metrics testing, and the iPhone is not used in it, and everybody says use the iPhone on the app. On the AT&T network.
The reason why that is because the software that they have to run is open source. To do the calculations, you can't have a closed source ecosystem and do what they need to do. That's
we had
they need access to the radios and the modems.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, we actually had I'm blanking on his name from PC Mag. My God,
Sasha.
Please. Thank you. We actually had Sasha, and I actually asked him that question, like how they choose to pick a phone. And he said the same thing. The software they use has to be on Android. But Los,
what
is up, brother?
Cabin man, the cabin in the woods.
What up?
Dude, real quick, who is the provider that's giving you 2 gigabit internet for so affordable?
South Central Communications.
Okay. Ooh. Are they like a local municipal provider then, I'm guessing?
South Central, bro. They're out of LA, man.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
nowhere, Utah.
Yeah,
nice.
It's dark out.
Very nice.
You forgot to pay the bill, dog. You can turn on the lights, homie.
What up?
You got the no lights,
what
man.
Up?
We said it's dark out.
It's just I'm outside.
Oh, okay.
I'm outside, bro. I'm just chilling in the chair, bro. Outside. It's like 58 degrees. It feels good.
Nice.
So, like, you on vacation? I'm guessing then, or what brought you out to the cabin?
Just do a little family weekend, type thing.
That's nice.
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 You guys got me dragging Los into this on the family weekend. Now you got me feeling.
I didn't say anything.
People are shooting fireworks.
I can hear it. Yeah.
Somebody just shot fireworks. Holy crap.
So Los, man, you got anything exciting that you're able to share? Any updates? Anything new?
Yeah, what are we gonna get Dish on Los Mobile, dog?
The T-Mobile access is not. It's not looking. I mean, it's all right, bro, but it's not looking too shabby, and they're only trying to charge me $2 less than what I pay with AT&T with full unlimited everything.
No
like
value.
I would think it would be at least $5 to $10 cheaper.
Bro, I wouldn't pay half. I'll pay a quota. That's what I'll pay. A quota.
Hold on, let me Let me grab my laptop. I'll be right back on, dude. Cause this
Yeah,
is
sure.
Now
not
you
friendly
guys
for
got
the
him
phone.
grabbing the
I'll be right back
laptop.
with
You
my
see what you
laptop.
guys did? These are what you did.
Hey, man.
Listen,
Yeah.
I love having Los on,
He's the
and
best.
besides,
Great man.
I told you last night, but tomorrow, which depending on how long the stream goes, is going to be my birthday. So I wanted to
Happy
spend
birthday.
time with you all.
Nice, man. Happy birthday, bro.
Happy birthday.
What color beanie we going with, dog?
Black or blue?
I'll probably do gray and black. We'll go
All
gray
right.
and black.
So if you're doing a gray and black, okay, then we need a gray and black thermal shirt too. All right. You be in the middle of the summer rocking a thermal, man.
But yeah, I'll be turning 25.
Nice, the big 2-5.
Congrats,
Hey,
man.
I'm
I'm 4
4
years
years
away.
away.
I'm 4 years away. It's
Man.
coming up.
Mike is just barely legal. He's 21.
I know. Yeah.
Well, actually,
Wait. Techno, you're younger than me?
yeah, I'm 21.
Dude,
He's just a young buck, man.
I never would have guessed, man. I would have thought you were about my age. Real talk. You look older.
Hey, you
He's
know
literally
something?
here to keep
That's
us
not the
young.
first time.
Literally.
That's not the first time somebody says I look older. Actually, matter of fact, I got away with going into a you know what club, but we ain't gonna crack open the book. And I was only 19 at that point. But now listen, guys, I gotta run. I got a big day tomorrow. Sneed, you know what's happening tomorrow, so
It goes down, bro.
it's going down.
What's going
That
down?
video. Real quickly, I just want to say thank you, Sneed, for letting me come on. Thank you guys for letting me kick it. Dennis, it was nice to meet you. Happy birthday, by the way. Zero Cool, you are out of the crypt, so let's keep you back in the light. So I'm good to see you. And real quickly, I got a couple of special things coming up this week for videos. I don't know if you guys heard of a company called Synkware. They're an accessories. They've just recently broke in, and they asked me to do something. So I kind of pushed that video back till iPhone season. So I waited for the iPhone season to make the video. Just a little accessories video. I want to thank them for that. And also, Sneed, you know what's happening tomorrow. That is a very special video that's coming. It is not tech related. It is nothing to do with tech, but it's something that's going to be very... I don't know the word to
It's
describe that.
impactful. It's impactful.
A very impactful video.
Yeah.
It's a very, very, very serious but very fun video, and it might be more emotional for me than me getting my first car.
You gonna do some
Okay,
slow
fine.
motion? You gonna do some slow motion stuff?
Oh hell nah, this ain't the time for that. But I'll just say this, Sneed, you can tell them after this live stream. I'm very excited for what's about to happen tomorrow, and I cannot wait to share it with everybody.
Well, I'll make sure to watch it on my
Nice.
lunch break, man.
Thank you, my friend. And I'm just gonna say right now, no, I'm not getting married. I'm too young for that. The way you're making it sound right now is like, oh, I'm about to propose. No.
I ain't getting married, bruh.
But it's something very special, and I hope you guys are able to check it out when it's done.
Will do, man. Most
Let's get a
definitely
link
will.
to Technoid's channel.
Are
please.
you
Any of
building
the mods
another
up there.
gym or what?
Well,
He's asking a girl out the prom. Okay, that's what's happening.
oh come on now, I already got it, girl. I don't want her seeing this and being like, come on,
homecoming.
what are you asking for
That's why he's got to get pumped.
Alrighty, guys, you have a good night. I'll see you all in the next one.
See you, man.
Take care,
Later,
guys.
man.
I'm
All
so
right, guys.
happy. I'm so happy I came on, man. I was not expecting to get to meet Technoid, which was great. And same thing to you, Zero. This has been great.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, thanks for joining me, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up. I do have to get to work in the
Same.
morning, so I gotta get to bed. It was fun. It was a good show. Thanks to Technoid for coming on. If any of my mods could put a link for his channel, do that, please. Thank you. And also, let's get Dennis and Stetson's podcast channel, and also let's get Stetson's OG channel linked. Let's do the whole shebang. Carlos literally joining us. Carlos, we are like literally about to close up shop, man.
Let's let him get in real quick here. I want to hear what he had to say real quick about.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So with T-Mobile, basically they only want to give 100 gigs of hotspot, even on the hotspot devices. That's all they said. They said is because about the plan or whatever that they can't, the plan, they can't do the plan. And I told them, I was like, well, I have a sole prop account, that has the OnePlus International. I was like, can you guys just get the feature from that, from that account and then make it happen? They said, I guess they didn't want to, or whatever the case might be. And then, bro, it's just a mess, bro. And then they said that they had a 200 gig hotspot plan available. I guess they did like 200 of those lines or something for like some students in Vegas, and then they said no, we can't do that for you guys because it's a retired plan now. So all we can do is just the 100 gigs, and it's going to be only $2 cheaper than AT&T, and AT&T's given the full shebang.
That's crazy. That's a rip. That's a rip off.
And what did Verizon?
And you want to know what's funny? This is exactly what the guy told me, and I shit you not, bro. I have people on the phone listening to this, so I got witnesses on this. They said the reason why AT&T is bending over backwards for me and stuff because they're the number 3 carrier, and they're losing, and they're doing what Sprint used to do, just give away everything to gain new customers and keep customers.
Oh, jeez.
Because they know their network is not good as T-Mobile.
What?
I swear to you, bro. That's exactly what they told me.
Oh, God.
Oh man.
Verizon.
Insert Michael Jordan meme. Stop it. Get some help.
I was like, bro. I was like, AT&T is giving me a full unlimited experience. You know, like if anything, you guys with your N41 that you guys claim is good and stuff.
This is
you should be giving it to me.
This is the truth. They know it will kill their network. That's what they know.
Yep.
That is the truth.
Oh, I'm sure, Pete.
And what's the Verizon? Like last I heard from you, you got unlimited priority with Verizon, right? For the post or for the.
Okay, so this is what Verizon's gonna do. So higher up in the chain, executive team got a hold of me. Literally, the executive team and Hoboken or Baskin Ridge or wherever the hell the name of the town is. So they got a hold of me and they told me that they're like, well, you know, we understand that it was referred to us because they promised you this and it was under-delivered. So they said, well, we're gonna try to get you the true unlimited plan for even the hotspot. But if we cannot do that, there is a plan that we just recently retired on Enterprise that gives you 200 gigs of hotspot for on device and true unlimited on the device with 1080p video. So I was like, okay. And then he was like, well, what if I can get you the true unlimited plans on the Jetpack devices only? That will have true unlimited data. And I was like, well, that'll work. You know, so then I can give that to my customers. And then he said, okay. He said, let me talk to Pete. He was like, you're talking to the second highest department. There's one more person higher than me. So let me talk to them and let me see if I can at least get that going. If we can get that going, we can re-sign the deal, right? And I was like, yes. So Verizon is gonna at least give me unlimited Jetpack access.
That's awesome.
True.
Nice.
And what about for phone? Are you still going to get the unlimited priority on the phone?
It'll be unlimited priority, but with 200 gigs of hotspot on the to give to other devices if it's a phone line, which is plenty. Bro.
That is plenty. Yeah, dude. I told you before behind the scenes, and I'll say it again. Just having the unlimited priority data already is a leaps and bounds better plan than anything postpaid's having, and knowing you, Los, I'm sure you'll be coming in probably a little bit under what Verizon is charging anyway, especially with all the tax and fees being included. So it's already great value, you know?
Yeah.
But and you got your laptop in then, Eric, are you able to start activating now? Like Verizon sent you the stuff or no?
Yeah. So basically once he said by Tuesday, he'll give me a shout, but he said it's going to be either option. Either it's going to be true for the devices, or it's going to be 200 gigs for the device, but the jetpacks will be true unlimited.
Hey, man, 200 gigs is still plenty. I still think that's plenty. Like, real talk, I think that's really good.
Yeah,
considering it's Verizon, you know?
But the team, and they're going to give it to me at a $3 cheaper than AT&T.
Nice.
So I'm like, how? I even told them I was willing to pay a little bit more, you know, per line, and then I can resell. You know, I'll just resell for a couple dollars more. You know, like, you know, I was telling him, and he was like, no. He was like, we can probably, you know, he was like, I'll get it to where it's like a couple dollars or $3 under what you pay with what you're paying AT&T per line you activate. I was like, all right, cool, that works perfect.
He probably wants you to make them the primary option. That's probably why. But all right, I know Sneed is definitely getting tired. He's hiding himself. I know that I'm probably getting tired. I know our stream folks are probably getting tired of hearing me. I want to thank everyone again for coming on. I couldn't picture a better way to spend my time than with all you guys, including the audience. I love all of you very much. Your
birthday, huh?
Yeah, tomorrow. So in less than an hour, it'll be my birthday. I'll be 25. But not to just. What's up?
Happy birthday!
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. But just to do a quick shameless plug, if you do like my input in any way, we have a channel that we made. It's literally called the Best Phone Plans channel. If you look it up on YouTube, it only has a couple hundred subscribers because we decided to make a dedicated channel for the podcast. I really appreciate if you guys can go over there, like, subscribe, because Stetson and I do get some pretty cool guests on, like Sasha Segan, like Roger Etner. We've had Ahmed Katak on and other interesting guests that I think you guys would find really interesting. And in fact, Sneed was on our podcast yesterday, and we had a really great discussion about the iPhone. So if you want to have some more to watch tonight, I definitely recommend checking it out. And I will link it again here in the comments for y'all.
Yeah, Sneed, when you get a chance, can you shoot Pete my email address?
Yeah,
Thanks, sir.
Sure can. Absolutely. I'll do that now for you before I forget.
Okay, thanks.
I'd be forgetting stuff, man. It's getting old, man. So.
And yo, if Zero, if you wanna reach out to me, I don't know how you like to communicate, Discord, Twitter, or what have you, man. I'd be more than glad to get your contact.
Yeah, just either snail mail or email. I got a satellite phone.
Jesus,
we can do
bro,
that.
Bro, are you still on that BS, bro?
Still on it, man. I'm doing good,
bro.
I'm surviving.
Bro, I'll tell you this from doing stuff with the DOD and DOJ and stuff like that, bro. From when I was in active duty. Doesn't matter, bro. Everybody thinks because you're wearing a mask right now and you think you're safe that they cannot facial recognize you through the cameras and stuff. You're smoking crack because they can't.
I know.
So either way, bro, they know where you're at. Either way, they know anything. If you have a utility bill under your name, you even have car insurance, you have a driver's license, anything, they know about you, bro. It's too much work. You would literally have to live like a caveman, solar power, solar this and that, and no grid, nothing. That's the only way.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's just better like Google, Facebook, Twitter, I guess. I don't know. The government, fine. They still know.
Yeah, those okay, but your phone, bro, regardless, like they know they know where you're at. You drive a newer truck, so that actually has AT&T cell service in it, so they know where you're at anyways.
Yeah, I'm thinking about
under your name.
I might get a Pixel 6. I might reactivate it. We'll see.
Big shout out to Gene, Kamikaze Kid, TDN Solutions, Green, big contributor, BF MV416, Obed, Kazi, Terrence, Alexis, Cody, Josh, and Ethan. You guys are incredible. I even missed some of those in the live chat. So thank you guys for those super chats and donos. You guys are incredible. Thanks for supporting. Before you go, please like this on your way out. Share it if you like. If you got socials that you could share it to, that's great. That's the best way to help the channel. You like and you share. Subscribe for more content. Bell notifications. Make sure they're set to being on. I don't know. We might do a podcast this Sunday. Pete wants to get on and talk about some stuff, so I'm excited about that. Dennis, I'll throw you the link. We'll see if we can get you on too. Zero, cool. If we can get you out of the doldrums, we might be able to pull it off. And then right. Carlos, if you're not canoeing somewhere in Utah, we'll see if we can get you on. How's that?
When?
Yeah, Sunday. What time on Sunday is the question?
8.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I'm gonna be playing D&D with my buddies, so I'll probably.
Well,
I gotta
Super Smash Brothers with my brother then. All right.
listen. Yeah. It's the one day of the week, man, that makes life meaningful, man. Those are my boys.
Right.
So
okay. All right. I think Carlos has a canoe, a kayak, and a garbage truck. I think he owns like a crane and a truck.
Bro, we out here chilling, bro, chilling.
Yeah.
Carlos got a whole gang of equipment. You guys have no idea. All right.
Bro, literally, like, yeah, I'll show you a real quick thing. Let me turn on the camera real quick. Let me see if I can put this down real quick. Without closing it. Guess what this is, Sneed? This box right here.
Electrical box?
Fiber
That's the
box.
fiber, the dedicated
Fiber box.
fiber line. Yeah.
I got Cox, bro.
Dude, I really wish. Listen, I'm lucky I have Fios, but I really wish I could trade like Peter for the stuff that Stetson has because it seems so much better. Or AT&T. I wish I had AT&T fiber. Like I wish
AT&T
they would
fiber is not
offer-
even that much great either. I heard, bro. People in Texas always all the time telling me that shit goes down at least a couple times a month.
I mean, I feel like, listen, the best, if we're talking about private companies, the best fiber provider in the country, if we're talking private companies, has got to be Google Fiber. I don't think anybody would argue with that. Google Fiber is
yeah.
hands down. And then I would say
Local
AT&T is
municipal.
probably second. And then, well, yeah, but municipals are the best. Municipals are generally the best. Like, they're cheap. Because, Carlos, you're paying some obscenely cheap rates, man. Like, you have CenturyLink Fiber down at your one place. I think you said you're only paying, like, what, $60?
Nah, they lowered it down to 55 now.
Dude, $55 for gigabit. My God. That, see, like,
I have Cox internet.
no, you don't. You canceled it, remember? You got that Lowe's Mobile,
You
though,
told
which
them.
is on point.
Saving the day, man.
He literally told them to eat a bag, bro.
Eat all of them. That's what I told him. I said, you can eat them all.
Real talk,
Hashtag-
though.
hashtag
Real talk.
penetration.
Real talk, though. For everybody that's out there, too, by the way, and I mean this sincerely, and Lowe's knows I would call him out if he ever did anything wrong. But Lowe's Mobile is a real talk great option if you need a home internet replacement. It's much better than T-Mobile's home internet because you can actually use your own freaking device, which is fantastic. And the only one I'm not sure about is how it stacks up against Verizon's home internet because I think Verizon's stuff was pretty okay, right, Sneed?
Yeah, very reliable. They're both good.
Yeah.
But that's the name of the game. 100 megabits, 200 megabits. What's really the difference if one's not reliable? The other one's automatically better regardless of speed. You know, that's the bottom line.
But
all right, yo. That's
right.
it. Let's wrap it up. Thank you guys. Thanks, Dennis. Thanks to Carlos. Thanks to Zero Cool. Appreciate you guys. Everybody in the live and hashtag replay crew for everybody watching this on replay. And hashtag Ravioli Gang. We out this piece.
Peace.
Please.